Welcome back to the best division in football with your boys Awthentik and The Beard, the best television show not on TV. Big shout out to the gang, man. I saw all of y'all in the chat pre-show, man. This is definitely going to be a good vibe today. We got two divisional matchups. We got the Cowboys headed to FedEx to take on the Commanders. Commanders are eliminated from the playoffs, unfortunately, for my co-host, The Beard. And the Cowboys are trying to do all they can do to try to get that number one seed still pending if the Philadelphia Eagles will take a loss to our Giants. The Giants travel just a tad down south to take on the Eagles. Giants are solidified in the 6th seed, kind of reminiscent of the 2007 Super Bowl run, so things are feeling kind of good. Cross your fingers one time. And we got a couple of great divisional matchups. I wanted to go over some of these divisional records while we enter this. Very surprising. Me and The Beard was talking about this backstage right before we came on. The Dallas Cowboys are 10-1 against the NFC East the past 2 seasons. I wrote this down earlier, and I had to double-check with him, triple-check. We had to look it up again right before we went on air. The facts are the facts, so the facts over feelings. They make me feel some kind of way, Rich Homie Quan, but it is what it is. The Cowboys are now 4-1 in the division this season. Commanders and the Giants are 1-3-1, and the Philadelphia Eagles are 3-2. I can't believe we are already here at Week 18. It's extremely surprising, but today we're going to be giving away 3 New York Giants rookie cards, not to 1 lucky winner. We're going to give it away to 3 lucky winners, so make sure y'all stay tuned. Right after we do the shout-out segment here, when the beer pops on, we're going to do our first trivia segment, and then we'll do one in between each and every game that we have today, which is only 2 games. No Thursday night football, so that's going to make things a little bit easier for us to go a little bit over the time limit here, even though we showed up a minute late. Tom Coughlin looking at Awthentik like, hey, bruh, one more of these, we're going to have to put you on the bench. But without further ado, man, let me bring in the best co-host in the country. He's probably the saddest co-host in the country as well, with his Washington Commanders being eliminated. But that's my brother. Y'all know what it is, man. The strong side to my left side. Shout out one time to my guy, The Beard. What's poppin', fam? How you living?
You had to throw in that Commanders are eliminated from the playoffs, didn't you? It's okay.
A couple times, bro.
Yeah,
a couple times.
I got that. It's understandable, you know. And then, but all I can say is it's about to be 2. I'm just gonna leave it at that. About to be 2.
Okay. I like that. Beat Dallas. You told me you was gonna rock that this week.
Yeah. No. Listen, it's insane that we're here at Week 18 already. There's a lot of interesting storylines, you know, obviously within these games, and you know, there's a lot of playoff seedings on the line. We're going into the playoffs, and NFL playoffs in any sport are really just like it's a heightened level. Yep. But you know, the first time you see, if it's done right, and usually they are, that first time you see that NFL playoffs commercial.
Oh yeah. You know.
Where they have like some, you know, actor or somebody doing the narration, and they start showing the clips and the stories. Then you kind of get those chills and the hairs on your arm. And I mean, for all the Giants fans, you know, I mean, you guys are in it. You guys are in it to win it, which is, you know, super exciting. With the NFL,
there's so much more at stake, man, because, you know, it's not like a basketball NBA series where you get 7 games. It's not like baseball. Game. This is one and done, and you out of here. And I think we can't start today's episode without talking about the great news that came out in the NFL out of Buffalo today. They reported that Demar Hamlin opened up his eyes today, and he asked this. I thought this just spoke so much volume towards how the NFL is. He asked, did we win? And they told him, yeah, you wanted life, which is amazing. But to know that he's conscious, they said that they're doing communication through him writing, because he still does have the breathing tube down his throat and whatnot. And, you know, our prayers, we continue to pray for Demar Hamlin's recovery. But that news, man, I've been staying up late every night, man, and like just double checking, seeing if Adam Schefter reported something, seeing if something came out, searching his name on Twitter, and really not been getting great sleep. And this is something that, you know, I imagine affects everybody across the country who's a football fan. But for his family and for the loved ones that are close to him, you know, the parents, the siblings, and the brothers in that locker room, I think this is amazing news. So it was great to hear that coming out of Buffalo today.
Yeah, it's just, you know, every minute, every hour, every day that passes by, it seems to be that we're getting a lot more positive news. And we obviously, like you said, it's like this isn't a thing where it's just like, you know, in this world that we live in right now, everything's kind of like in the now, and then it's what's next, and we kind of forget about it. But I think the point that you made about how we're still praying and we're
Yeah,
going to
for sure.
continue just to have them in our thoughts and prayers. It means a lot because the young man has a long journey ahead of him, obviously. So just the small steps like this mean a lot in that journey. So it's really good to hear. It really,
And
really
not
is.
to jump the gun or anything, because we do know that he still has a long road ahead of him for
Mhm.
recovery. But so far, this is like this is a story out of a movie.
Mhm.
I mean, this dude was
100%.
not breathing on the field, and we saw the panic from the players, from the teammates, not only his own teammates, but from the opposing team, how severe of a situation this really was. And for the doctors, big kudos to the doctors for doing their job proper
Yeah.
there to resuscitate him, get him back, get his heart back pumping. To me, it's just like this in 20 years, I pray that this all goes well because this is going to be the story of a lifetime. And it's a very heartfelt story going around the NFL and for the NFL community, towards the end of a season here. And I don't know what they're going to do with the game as far as the Bengals and the Bills game, moving forward. But there were some rumors. We were talking about that off air. But, whatever they do, man, I think the most important thing here is Damar Hamlin and his recovery moving forward. So it's great to hear that, man. It's great to start the podcast off with some good news because we talked about it on Tuesday, how we thought about not doing the show. And that show had great vibes across the board, man. Like everybody in the chat, we went for 4 hours again. We almost went for 420 twice, back to back. That would have been back to back splits, the beard. That would have been pretty crazy. Monday we had the 420 vibes, and then on Tuesday we had a 4-hour show. So it's great to see that, man. And I thank you for saying like, yeah, let's do the show because I think that was a great way to just honor the situation. And now to have some good news, we can go into Thursday and feel a little bit better about things.
Yeah, and I once again just a big shout out to each and every one of you who are here right now, who may watch this later, who were with us, at any point in time, not just this week, this season, since we started doing that. Those last two shows were two of the top 10 most viewed Awthentik and The Beard shows ever. So I just wanted to, recognize each and every one of you all for making that happen and for being here with us because, without you guys would be me and Awthentik talking to each other. And
I know, right?
Awthentik wouldn't have the audience
the
to beat and batter my commander's soul.
Oh, yeah. Stan hit me up in the DM and Stan was like, I went back and I watched the show. Man, that roast session on the beard was wild. They went crazy. And I was telling you, man, they definitely gave me the gas, man. But, all in all, good vibe. There's always next year, man. Y'all get a little bit of a off-season, an extra couple of weeks to recoup and get ready for this draft.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And listen, there is so much to come, obviously, with the Washington Commanders, with every team in this offseason. And Awthentik and I have talked about how the anticipation and the excitement for this offseason is completely different than it has been in past years for both of us. But yeah, there's a lot on the line here. Obviously, with Washington, the sale of the team, the draft, like we're back into this sort of Groundhog Day mode of quarterback, and I see you guys are debating Uncle Rico or Al Bundy as far as the next Commanders quarterback.
I thought Al Bundy was a running back, man.
I mean, Al Bundy did a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying?
4 touchdowns in one game, dog. You know what I'm saying?
That's one jersey that if I get my hands on, I think I'd keep for myself. The Al Bundy Polk High autographed jersey.
Well, he was number 30 something, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was
30 something.
So that's an awesome jersey. I've seen it around before, so that might be one that I might have to.
You was talking about the Charlie Conway. Well, I was talking about the Charlie Conway. Then you said there was one more. I feel like you brought up
the Rick Vaughn Wild thing.
That would be fire.
There's a Sandlot one too. Yeah,
Sandlot would be fire.
It's a Cleveland jersey. It says Vaughn 99 on the back, and it's autographed by Charlie Sheen. So
I might have to get that. I don't want the one with the autograph by Charlie Sheen though, man. Charlie Sheen, he's a sleazeball, man.
I listen. I talked to my guy. I said, look, if you find these ones, these like off-brand ones, I would love a Willie Mays Hayes jersey autographed by Omar Epps and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. Willie Mays Hayes wore 00, I think, right?
I think so.
Think so.
Man.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a fire uniform.
It would. So big shout out to everybody who is watching us right now here on YouTube, obviously on Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Let the world know we are giving away 3 free prizes tonight. It's going to be absolutely awesome. I'm super excited about that. I always get excited.
I got my burner account. What's the name on the burner account again, though?
Jake from State Farm?
It's Jake. I wanted to say Jeff. I was about to say Jeff. I got my burner account in the chat right now. I'm about to try to win me all 3 of these rookie cards. We're going to see if I can do a clean sweep here. You know what I'm saying?
So big shout out to our guy Gregory checking in, one of our resident Dallas Cowboys fans. I mean, listen, Cowboys, Eagles, Giants. I'm feeling so alone and left out right now. It's killing me.
I didn't even think about it like that. All 4 teams didn't get in, but only one team didn't really get in.
yeah, not fun at all. Big shout out to Jerome Jenkins. We appreciate you stopping by. Thank you for joining the party. Big shout out to Jay Jean. Says, I say we rest our starters and stomp them birds with our backups. Start the postseason with momentum. LFG, NYG. Appreciate you, Jay.
Gang is in the building. What's poppin', Jay Jean?
Big shout out to one of our resident Commander fans. The Beige Boy says, what up, y'all? I hope Sam doesn't get run over by the Cowboys buzzsaw.
That's supposed to be your fam right there.
Yeah, I know. The buzzsaw has taken a new form apparently.
We had to pawn the buzzsaw.
Big shout out to J-Mo. Coach Taylor's in the building. Great to see you as always, Jameson.
Big shout out, J-Mo. What's poppin', fam?
Big shout out to our guy Yam in Japan. It is already Friday where Yam is, so good morning to Yam. Says, can I rest my complete dissatisfaction with the Commanders organization and fan base? Magical 8-Ball says, not likely.
Yeah, that's facts right there.
Big shout out.
You're one day closer to a Giants playoff game, so big shout out to you.
Big shout out to Real People. Says, what's good, fellas? Hope everything's good. Good to see you, Real People. We appreciate you as always.
Appreciate that the comments on the video too, Real People. Big salute, man, for the algorithm.
Big shout out to Sean G. You know it's kind of tight because I said algorithm and then I almost said Sean Paul, but it's Sean G because you know the rhythm and everything. But big shout out to Sean G.
Hey, shout out Sean Paul one time. I got to work with Sean DePaul back in the day at Listen Vision one time, man. Shout out Sean DePaul. Shout out Sean G one time in the building too.
Says, what's up, guys? Last preview before the playoffs. Thanks for another great year of content. Go Giants. We appreciate you, my guy. One of the best names, too. I mean, I feel like this doesn't get enough credit. James Earl Moans is in the building. Says, had the Giants arrested the players against the Patriots in 2007, they would never have known how to step up to the level of play for the playoffs.
That's a great point right there. It's a great point right there. And we're going up against one of those kind of teams again, another juggernaut type of team in the Philadelphia Eagles.
And, you know, I thought Stan had another good point, too. I don't think it got eliminated from the StreamYard chat, but he had mentioned something about how, you know, with the Giants, it just, you know, he mentioned about the Giants and the Eagles and just like handing the division to somebody and in fact, of resting the players. I thought that was an interesting kind of viewpoint, too. It's a really like a coin flip situation, and we're obviously going to get into that today on the show. And it's not just about the Giants too; it's about the Eagles as well. So it's going to be an interesting situation.
And the Cowboys, can't forget the Cowboys.
Yep, Cowboys as well. Big shout out to Chiefs Kingdom in the building, holding it down for the Kansas City Chiefs. Appreciate you joining us as well. Big shout out to Stan the man. I know it's an NFC East show, but got to give Mike Tomlin his flowers. He's about to keep his winning season streak alive after starting 2-6 with a rookie quarterback, leader of men, and top 2 coach in this era. I 1,000% agree with you, and that is something I feel like we talk about every parlay where it's like, we picked the Steelers not because we necessarily think they're going to win, but because we want Mike Tomlin's streak to continue. I just think it's an amazing feat. Some people will, you know, kind of downplay it because, it's, you know, a lot of those mediocrity seasons mixed in there. But it's so hard to win football games in the National Football League.
Facts.
So,
were the Steelers eliminated this past week, or are they still alive?
They were eliminated.
They were eliminated. Got you. That's unfortunate. But hopefully they didn't get to that 500 record.
That would be crazy, and it'll definitely be awesome to see. Big shout out to Steven Arce in the building, shouting out JID, best rapper of this generation.
That's what's up. Yeah, Jid goes crazy, man. Shout out Dreamville, shout out Jid, man. Big bars. The one time I kicked it with Jid, he was completely shit-faced. Him and Chaz.
Yeah. Big shout out to Kai 001. What's up, family? Let's end this regular season with a bang. Shout out to Kai, one of our resident Dallas Cowboys fans. Appreciate you stopping by. Big shout out to Bills Mafia.
Kai said the Steelers still alive.
Oh, they are still alive.
Yeah, I remember they were alive entering the week if they would have won.
Is it Steelers, the Dolphins, and Patriots, I think, are the last 3 teams. You're right. You're right. You're
right. We talked about that. We did. Yup.
I am sorely mistaken, man. What if they win? What if the Steelers
Your confidence made me go, I guess they're eliminated.
Well, your confidence in the way you asked the question made me think they were eliminated.
Yeah, I mean, because I knew going into last week, it surprised me when I looked at it. I'm like, wow, the Steelers are still alive. That's interesting, man. There's so many surprise teams. Like, to me, the Ravens are such a surprise team. Like, how many wins they have without having Lamar Jackson in the lineup. And he didn't practice this week either, man. So that's not looking good. He's got to get back on that field, man.
Yeah, hopefully he can get out there if they do make, for the playoff run.
Yeah, got you.
Big shout out to Ed Squires in the building. Appreciate you as always, sir. Carl Wilkinson is here as well. Make sure I didn't miss anyone. Sergeant Cag. Gerard, thank you for joining us.
Gerard?
We appreciate you
fam?
as always. And our guy Sebastian is in the building. Big shout out.
Now he says in a GLC voice. Y'all gotta let me know what that is. I'm an OG. I don't know about the GLC. Let me see the GLC voice.
Good luck, charm.
I don't know, dog. It's gonna be a no for me, dog. I'm not too sure about that one.
Gangster.
I got my eyes on the chat though. Sebastian gonna let me know.
Big shout out to TJ the Voice. Checking in. Looks TJ? Like a Dallas Cowboys fan. Salute to your Dallas Cowboys.
You facing the building. What's popping, TJ? Hope all is well, fam. Best of luck this week, man. I know you're going up against the Bears Commanders, but best of luck to both of y'all.
Big shout out to Kareem Yee in the mix. Appreciate you as always. Our guy, Chris Peace, is rocking with us. What's cracking, my guy?
What's poppin', Chris Peace? Hope all is well, brother.
Danny Dimes season is in the building. Best show not on the radio.
I like that. That's a twist on the best television show not on TV. I like that. That's what's up, man. We got 2 kind of slogans we could smack them with one time. I like that.
Big shout out to SHU Carter. We appreciate you dropping by and joining us as always. AJ Nix says seems like they will rest some of their starters, so we're gonna.
That's what it's feeling like.
Wait and see. Kevin the PRF wants to know if the Commanders have picked up Feliciano or Eggball yet.
Y'all gonna try to go after Jose Feliciano.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We shall see. Shout out Kevin the PRF one time.
Didan Shelton is in the building as well. Appreciate you.
We got to figure out how to enunciate that one right there. I don't know if it's
Didan.
You said Didan. Let me see.
Didan.
I'm gonna say Didan. We'll see how that goes.
Probably.
Oh, Sebastian said GLC is an OG rapper, bro. Has bars he featured on Drive Slow with Paul Wall. Okay, that's what's up.
Okay.
I do remember that verse now. Yo.
To Alex says someone to ruin Philadelphia's playoff spot, but not worth the risk of your own. And Philadelphia playing all their guys, let the staff play chess instead of checkers. See how to attack them in a potential playoff game. Interesting take.
Now, real quickly with the take that he just brought up there with Alex's take. Let's say, right, you're Brian Dable, and you planned on starting the starters, right? And you go out there and you see on the first series that Philly has no starters out there. Would you just be like, all right, Daniel, come here, Saquon. Y'all come sit on the bench one time? Or do you continue to play to try to get the W?
I don't know.
One word. No politician, so we can move on. One word answer, yes or no?
I take the 5th.
I take
push.
Okay.
Push.
That's a better one-word answer. I like that.
I'll save it for later. Big shout out to James Funk, always holding us down on Facebook. We appreciate you. I see Mac, the Giants fan, in the building.
And shout out to Mac. What's up, Mac?
Nate Talks Football in the building. Brett Carnahan is in the building. BB Jones is in the building.
Hey, Jones in the building. What's popping, fam?
Demario is in the building. Fabian's in the building. Bluegrass Pickers
Fabian.
in the building.
Yeah, gang
NYG Empire is in the building. We got 58 people. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Jay Hall.
Oh, you missed
Oh, here it is right here. I just hopped right on it. Marjorie's in the building. Always dropping in Marge bombs. We appreciate you as always. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kick this show off with a bang. You guys said it. We're going to go out with a bang. We're going to start with a bang.
Y'all definitely going out with a bang.
Hey. Jesus Joseph, man.
Okay, I need you to buy me a little. Oh, no, I don't. I was about to say I need you to buy me some time until I get this other graphic uploaded, but it looks like we're good to go. So you ready to get into this? So we do got this first trivia section first before we get off into this first game.
That's what I was saying. That's what I meant by going in with a bang. You know, we got cards to give away, ladies and gentlemen.
I like it. All right. So we told y'all earlier in the show, we're giving away 3 rookie cards today to if Giants fans win all 3 of these trivia segments, but we do got some backup prizes, obviously, for Commanders fans, Dallas Cowboys fans, and Philadelphia Eagles fans, which, is anybody in here repping the Eagles right now? It seems like the Eagles are like the fourth, like, stepson or something like that they never pull up to Awthentik and The Beard. Are we not showing the Eagles enough love? As much as we talk about Jalen Hurts, why we ain't got no Eagles heads up in the building?
Where's our guy, who used to come and hang out with us, man? Big Play Slay. What was his?
Yeah, Big Play Slay used to, formerly known as Big Play Slay. He's now, I believe, the franchise, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's really our only resident Eagle fan, I feel like.
Shout out. Listen, they'll come. They'll
be here.
Come
playoffs.
playoffs.
Yeah, come playoffs. All right, well, y'all know this is a lot of people's favorite segment on our show. We get to do these once a week. Shout out to Over the Year Sports, the Beard's company that's been sponsoring this all year long. The 18th straight week now, we've been giving away prizes. And today we're going to be giving away 3 rookie cards like we talked about. We got 3 trivia questions. We can kind of pace this show. I'm like, something's like over my shoulder telling me to rush a little bit, but it's like there's no Thursday night game tonight. So, we can really pace this. But I think it's time to cue in the jazz flutes one time because it is everybody's special time of the show. It is trivia time. All right, I hope y'all ready to win some prizes here. We're going to give you just a little bit of time to get your mind right. Shout out to Memphis Bleak one time. Missy Elliott vibes. Y'all know what it is. Get your thinking caps on.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
There you go. We got some Eagles in the building. There you go. We love to see it. Shout out Fly, Eagles, fly one time in the building. Get your Google fingers ready while I scroll up to the first trivia question. Do we want to give them any kind of hint?
No hints.
No hints, right? All right, let's get right to the vibes, man. I hope y'all are ready for this. Today's first trivia question is, this quarterback played 5 seasons in the NFC South from 1978 to 1982 and became the first African-American quarterback to play in and win a Super Bowl. Shout out to the gang one time in the building. Beard, remind them of the rules one time so they know what they see in the chat.
Remember that this is going to be who we see on our chat first, which might look different than what you see in your chat due to different internet lags. So the only way to keep it fair is to go by who we see answer this question first in the chat.
They came in hot. They came in hot.
Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to have to go to a reserve pile based on who won this.
Give me in the private chat who you see first. I see who I see first. Let me just hook you up one time. Is that confirmation right there?
That is. I don't know. I was pressing enter. I'm like smashing the keyboard.
All right.
Man.
So we try to start it off pretty light on the show today. You know what I'm saying? I saw a lot of answers coming in hot here. Y'all probably didn't have to use y'all Google fingers for this one for real. You just got to use your thinking cap one time and get this one right. Today's trivia question's answer is, on January 31st, 1988, Doug Williams of the Washington Redskins became the first African-American quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And the first name that we saw in the chat today is our resident Cowboys fan, Mr. Kai 001 himself. Big salute to Kai one time, which I know he probably doesn't want a New York Giants rookie card in the stash.
I got something for him.
But the Beard got the backup vibes for you one time. You know what it is, man.
All right, so you can have your choice, Kai, between a card or a Dallas Cowboys pennant. Your choice. Dallas Cowboys pennant or a Dallas Cowboys card.
Is this pennant, where did this pennant come from?
This pennant came from season 1 of Awthentik and The Beard.
Ooh, I do remember the pennant. Oh my, and that pennant is fire. That one is definitely fire. I wonder what Kai's going to go with. But Kai said the pennant. That's what's up, man. Big shout out to Kai one time, man, for winning the Week 18 trivia first question of today's episode. Big shout out to Kai, man. Kai been rocking with us faithfully for like, I want to say a good, maybe the whole season almost. Ooh, okay, that's what's good. Big shout out to Kai, man, for winning the Dallas Cowboys pennant. That makes me want to, cook up another trivia question, man. So we aren't giving away 3 rookie cards today. We're going to be giving away maybe 2 rookie cards. Hey, y'all Giants fans, y'all better get on it. Y'all better get on it, yo. Y'all definitely better get on it. But big salute to Kai, man. He wins the opening question of trivia today, man. Big shout out to all of y'all for submitting y'all answers, too. I saw people couldn't even spell it right. People just put Doug, D-U-G. I'm just trying to get that money. What's going on? But big shout out to all of y'all for participating in today's trivia section on Awthentik and The Beard, man. Big shout out to all of y'all, man. That's dope right there. Them jazz flutes be rocking, bro. I might have to make a vibe off that. I don't know, man. Them jazz flutes, them joints crank right there, man. Big shout out to the jazz flutes one time. All right, Beard, you ready to get into this first matchup here, man? We're going to start it off with your Commanders, man. Welcoming the Dallas Cowboys. My homeboy Chaz is going to be at this game. He got tickets for Christmas to this game. I told him I might try to pull up, but with nothing really on the line, I don't think I'm going to go out there in the cold weather. We got our last warm day in D.C. here today, pretty much. Going to drop back down to the 40s, so I don't think I'm going to make it out there. But we're going to start today's show off with the Cowboys headed to FedEx Field to take on the Washington Commanders. I'm kind of reluctant to look. You see the Beard heard the music. He's kind of like, yeah, we gotta do this again. Did he freeze like that? He froze. You remember when I froze on a Tuesday show? Yeah. I thought you was trying to play some games just now.
No, I was just getting my howl on. That's all.
Ooh, okay, I see you getting your howl on. That's what's up, man. So Cowboys are sitting at 12-4. Extremely surprising, man, if you ask me. And in my notes, I said they're going up against the Eagles. They're taking on the Commanders, who are 7-8-1. Cowboys still favored by 7.5 in this one?
Saw 7.
7 now. Okay, so it dropped just a little bit. Last week, the Cowboys beat the Tennessee Titans on Thursday night, 27-13. The Commanders took the loss to the Cleveland Browns, 24-10. This is the 13th consecutive season that Washington has finished the regular season against a divisional opponent. The Commanders need to win this game to avoid the franchise's 6th consecutive losing season. Now, I know y'all been teetering that borderline of being pretty average, but when you go to that 6 consecutive losing seasons, that's definitely not a vibe. Now, in his 3 years running the Washington Commanders, Ron Rivera has now had 8 different starting quarterbacks. And the one who has started the most games for him, Taylor Heineke, with 24 games, is the one he's spent the most of the past 12 months trying to replace. I don't really understand it. It kind of doesn't make any sense when you think about it. Rookie Sam Howell out of North Carolina, who they drafted in the 5th round, will get the start on Sunday. Heineke he's won 12 out of his 24 starts. He's got 1 tie, so I think that's a winning record. I know I'm no mathematician there, but I think that is a winning record for the Washington Commanders. The Cowboys need to win, and they need Philadelphia to lose to the Giants to win the division. The 49ers to lose to the Cardinals to win the number 1 seed, which is crazy that the Dallas Cowboys still have a shot to actually get a first-round bye here. If the 49ers, Cowboys, and the Eagles lose and the Vikings could win, the Vikings could get the number 1 seed as well. Talked about it in the opener about Dak Prescott being 10-1 versus the NFC East in the past 2 years. Well, since him and Ezekiel Elliott have entered the league, they're 10-3 against the Washington football team, Redskins, Commanders, whatever you want to call them, which is crazy because I remember looking up the record of Dak Prescott versus the Giants entering the last time he played against us, and it was like 9-1, 10-1 or something crazy like that. Dak Prescott has a 6-game interception streak, though, for the first time in his career. The Cowboys are 5-1 in those games, which is kind of interesting. And he also, he's got, 14 touchdowns and 10 picks during that stretch. So he does have more touchdowns than he has interceptions, but that's really not good. Despite missing 5 games as well with the broken thumb, Prescott enters this week tied with Kirk Cousins. This was surprising. Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr for the NFL lead right now with 14 picks. But that goes to show you that across the league, interceptions are pretty down this year, you know? And I think Dak Prescott, a lot of these interceptions, we know they haven't been on him, obviously. But at the end of the day, there is no interception stat for wide receivers. There's no stat for tip passes that turn into interceptions. So these stats are on Dak Prescott. I was talking to the Beard about Tony Pollard and what his health looked like coming into this game, and it looks like he is going to play in this game. One more rushing touchdown by Tony Pollard would make him and Ezekiel Elliott the first pair of NFL running backs with at least 10 touchdowns in a season since Carolina's D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart did it back in 2008. Ezekiel Elliott has scored at least one rushing touchdown in a career-best 9 consecutive games. He had that slow game last week, 1.9 yards per carry, but he did get the touchdown to keep the streak alive. Ezekiel Elliott needs 42 scrimmage yards to keep alive a 7-year streak for having at least 1,000 yards each season from scrimmage, which is really good. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb needs 10 catches to break Michael Irvin's single-season club record of 111. That was way back in 1995. Which came in a 16-game season, so Michael Irvin does got a bit of an asterisk on CeeDee Lamb. And tight end Dalton Schultz, he had the 2 touchdown catches against the Titans, man. I'm looking for him to really show up in this game against your Commanders. But I don't know if we got a roadmap this week. I don't know what we got going on this week. You know, maybe we rode the bike wherever I don't know what we doing with the Commanders. Last game of the season, Beard, what do you see in this matchup?
Listen, excuse me. It's not just a roadmap, okay? You know, I had to clear my throat because I was about ready to channel my inner Smokey Robinson. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, really?
Baby, let's cruise.
Oh, that falsetto needs some work.
We're just going to cruise, man. We're sightseeing. You know, there's no need for a roadmap. Listen, you know, sometimes you get in the car and you just go. You don't know where you're going. You know, you're on the road to nowhere. All right, and that's where we are right now in Washington.
This like you can't hit the J's in the crib, so you just hop in the truck. It just
we gotta go on the route. We gotta go on the route.
Right, you gotta go on the route.
I mean, listen. You know, I did want to. I feel like this is a good opportunity for me to, you know, not necessarily eat crow. Maybe, you know, put some on the grill, season it, cook it for other people. Not necessarily eat it. But I do think that I should, you know, I gave the Cowboys a lot of flack this season, okay? Yeah. And in some points, rightfully so. In others, you know, out of pure comedic gesture. And then on other occasions, you know, just hating. But the Cowboys are the Cowboys are
here with a whole new approach today.
The Cowboys are here sitting at 12-4. I literally wrote them off after the week 2.
I did too. I ain't gonna say that like I wasn't a part of that bandwagon. Yeah. I ain't gonna act like that.
I think the fact that they are where they are says a lot about their team and the players that they have on that roster. It's still, you know, I have to do my job as a YouTube analyst and part-time NFL critic to point out their flaws and inconsistencies. You know what I'm saying? But those are some things that they definitely have to work on right now because we're getting ready to go into the playoffs. And while I'm at it, I figured, you know, it would be important for me to, you know, give Taylor Heineke some flowers because listen, I mean, this guy, you know, as much as I excuse me.
Hold on. Did I? Hold on. Let me check all the audio signals in here real quick one time. What did I just hear that correctly? What did you just say?
You know, I have to give
Taylor Heineke and flowers. So you about to have a Heineke and some flowers in the same conversation here?
I mean, and Cowboys. Listen, I just, you know, it's just I felt like this would be a good time to, you know, be.
This is like, you know, when you
This is what happens when you're just cruising. You know, you're rolling the windows down.
And you close the door and you talk about how you have sinned. That's what this is right here.
So no, I listen. In all honesty, I think, you know, Taylor Heineke. I've never been a Taylor Heineke guy, but I've never been a Taylor Heineke hater. You know, I've rode the line. You know, like yeah. I've walked one foot over the other, like I was taking a sobriety test. But you know, it is important, obviously, to say that, you know, Taylor Heineke has done what he has pretty much been asked to do for the better part of his tenure here in Washington. I mean, he's had some amazing comeback victories. You know, he's been a He's been a great teammate, a great, locker room presence
This
guy.
doesn't even feel right. I don't even know what to say.
I just, and it's not, Taylor Heineke never did anything to me. It was the Taylor Heineke supporters, the Heineke hive, that got me in my panties into a bunch. Okay, so I'm just unwinding them right now. You know how sometimes when you do your laundry and you throw in some drawers with the sheets. And you're like, damn, what happened to my drawers? And then you start to make the bed and you unfold that one sheet that goes on top of it. Sock flies out, drawers fly out. That's kind of what's happening.
Every time I do laundry, by the way. I ain't one of them dudes like splitting up the colors and the sheets and whatever needs to be washed.
I just throw it all in there. It does not bode well when you live with women, though. They eventually just are like, you know what? I want you to do laundry, but I don't want you to do laundry. Sort of situation. So I think that, and where I'm going with this too is I feel like his last curtain call, because I don't know if Taylor Heineke will be back next year.
Right.
But it would be wrong for me not to want Taylor Heineke back. Half of me. I want him back because he is one of the best backups in the league. Like he's proven that he cannot do it for a whole season. He just can't. We've seen it 2 years in a row now. But he can be a guy to give you those 4 or 5 starts in a pickle and get you some wins. You know what I'm saying? And I think that more now than ever in the NFL, that's so important. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at the 49ers. The 49ers are fighting for a number 1 seed, and they're on their 4th quarterback of the year.
And that boy's balling. He's got consecutive games. Every one of his games, he has multiple touchdown passes in.
Yeah, now that's going to be a whole nother game. Like, who knows what happens there? I mean, they got Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance. Yeah, what happens then?
Just imagine if the 49ers win the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. You got to sign that kid and bring him back as a starter?
I mean, he's under contract. He's a rookie. He's still under a rookie deal. But you also have Trey Lance, who's probably going to be out for still the beginning of the year, considering how significant that injury was.
That might be a trade if that go down.
So it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Jimmy G, I wouldn't imagine, would be back again. But, I mean, who knows? You just never know with the San Francisco 49ers.
Jimmy G played some good football, too.
Yeah, he did. And the thing is but the other half of me thinks that if you have Taylor Heineke here, there's always going to be a quarterback controversy. Do you really want that? And as his last curtain call for now, what he did was he went, because he was named the starter for this game.
Heineke was.
Yeah. Heineke then went to Ron Rivera and said no.
He said
start Sam Howell.
Oh, man, that's gangster right there. That's like an Eli Manning move right there.
Yeah.
You going to pull me out at the half? Don't even start me, bro. That's a gangster move. Because with all the chips on the table, with everything on the line, the fact that they thought that Taylor Heineke didn't deserve that opportunity to die on his shield is the craziest thing. When I look back at it in hindsight, I was like, it's even crazier than I thought at the moment, because he got you in that position. Not single-handedly, obviously, but this team rallied around Taylor Heineke. And then to just literally strip him of any opportunity to go out there and try to make a true playoff run all the way until it ended. And you wait till this last minute. And you know what it reminded me of? You remember when Carson Wentz had that bad game? I want to say it was around week 4. Ron Rivera went to the podium when they did the press conference, and they asked him, so what was the problem with today's game? And he gave a one-word answer, and he said, quarterback. And then you go back to Taylor Heineke after what happened last year and whatnot. He wins you 5 out of 6 games, gets you in the playoff kind of a hunt, let's call it, yeah. And then with everything there, you don't let that kid die on his shield. It's one of the most dirtiest moves you could possibly do to a quarterback, I think. Outside of Baker Mayfield, it's the worst situation I've ever seen for a quarterback.
And in hindsight, after Tuesday's show and kind of letting things digest a little bit more, I still believe in my stance that I understand going to Carson Wentz, but I've also come around to understanding the fact of how it was probably the wrong decision, and not just because of the outcome. Obviously, that would be an easy way out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But even if not knowing the outcome, if I could go back and change my mind on starting Carson Wentz or starting Taylor Heineke, it would be a lot easier for me to say start Taylor Heineke and don't.
Hindsight allows us to see the worst case scenario here with this situation with the Commanders. And I think, like, you know, if Carson Wentz wins the game, no one even myself included, we don't even mention, oh, man, they did Heineke so dirty, because you end up making it to the playoffs anyway, so it looks like it was the right move. When you see the consequences of the actions from Ron Rivera in this one, I really feel sorry for Taylor Heineke. I really do, because that kid's probably not going to get another starting job anywhere.
I don't know. That's an interesting. It's an interesting debate.
Not in the next year or two, unless somebody gets hurt or something. Like, and even in that case, I'd say there are guys ahead of him. We just talked about Jimmy Garoppolo and what's going to happen with him. But all these other teams that are out there that are having trouble at the quarterback position, they probably going to go out there and draft somebody. You know, Houston Texans are probably going to draft another quarterback. And then you got a guy now in Davis Mills who's going to become a backup probably and be a serviceable one at that. To me, it's just like, man, you not only did you pull the legs out from under the table on Taylor Heineke's season, you might have done that to his career. He's an older kid. You know, isn't Taylor Heineke about to be 30 years old? Yeah. Or like 29 or something? I mean, that's Ron Rivera, man, I'm looking at him so sideways, man, these days, man. And it's just, I'm calm about it today, but I like that Taylor Heineke did that, because to say, hey, after we saw that the whole thing was a debacle with Carson Wentz, we want you to start now, that's a spit in the face, man.
Yeah, and he said, his words were, he said that Sam Howell deserved a full start, because initially they had pegged Heineke as a starter, and they said that Sam Howell was going to get some snaps. And then Heineke went to the coaching staff and said, Sam deserves a full go at this. And obviously it's super important too, because, Sam Howell, at one point before his last season at North Carolina, the beginning of that year, he was the projected number 1 overall pick. Right. And he obviously had a drop. It's not like, for those of you that don't watch college football, there's a lot of times where a guy is a guy and then he sticks around an extra year and it's just like,
yeah, we've seen that happen a ton.
It completely falls off. His number, he didn't necessarily have like that drastic of a drop. He just wasn't as good as his sophomore year, and it wasn't
he lost
better.
A lot of talent around him too.
But that was the big thing, is he lost, I think, 4 players to the NFL. Not like just 4 players graduating. He lost 4 NFL players. Yeah. And that made a big difference. But he is in my opinion, he is almost like a hybrid version of Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz.
I feel you.
Because he has the ability to escape, make things happen in the pocket under pressure. He can run, but he has a good arm, a really good arm. He can make all the NFL throws. Now, obviously, there were rumblings around, local media, and people were saying that the coaching staff thinks he's not ready and this and that. So it's an interesting scenario. The thing that sucks is okay, either way, whatever Sam Howell does in his game, there's no way you can evaluate your future at quarterback based upon one game. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if Sam Howell goes out here and throws 5 touchdowns and they beat the Cowboys with all their starters, that doesn't mean that he's the clear-cut number 1 guy going into next year. But if he goes out here and throws 3 interceptions and no touchdowns, that doesn't mean that he can't be, a NFL starting quarterback. It's a very tough situation. But
it really is.
In his career at North Carolina, he played 37 games. His career completion percentage is 63.8. His sophomore year, though, his completion percentage was 68.1. In those 37 games, he threw 92 touchdowns to 23 interceptions. So he's about 6 to 7 interceptions per season. And he threw for 10,283 yards. He also ran for over 1,000 yards and 17 rushing touchdowns. And his running actually the numbers are the one that went up his last year at North Carolina. He ran for 828 yards and 11 touchdowns last year. So
that's solid. And the completion percentage in college is extremely important, to be accurate I can remember on the herd, Colin and a few guests were talking about that. About there aren't many quarterbacks that were under 60% in college that end up coming to the NFL and end up playing well. Some of the guys they listed was Matthew Stafford, I believe, was under 60%. Josh Allen, and I think I want to say 1 year Daniel Jones might have been there, but I know Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford. So I mean that is good to see the high completion percentage. It's something here in the chat that I definitely wanted to bring up because I see that Kevin the PRF says he's got a prediction that Heineke would go to the Broncos, and I see it's kind of in a response to something that Yam said. I want to know your thoughts on this one right here.
Hindsight always 2020, but just look at it this way: as bad as Russ has played, he's still starting in Denver. And had Wentz never been hurt, he'd still be starting. We'd be 4-12, but he'd be starting.
You want me to
It's
answer
tough.
first?
Yeah, you answer it first.
So look, this is what I think about it. The reason why a guy like Russell Wilson, you're not going to bench him is because of how much of the bag you had to pay to bring him over there and the accolades and how decorated his career has been. You're talking about a guy who's only had one losing season, before entering this season with the Denver Broncos, obviously. With Carson Wentz, I think had he struggled early on more, let's say, because the stretch that he played right before ending his first tenure of the season against the Chicago Bears, he was looking real bad for 4 weeks. Had he have continued to do that for 4 more weeks, I think this team would have rallied more around. Those like rumblings of Taylor Heineke getting in the lineup happened before Carson Wentz got hurt. So I don't think it's the same situation. I mean, I think, with Russell Wilson, it's, we paid this guy and we gave away all these draft picks and all that. With Carson Wentz, they traded for just a couple of late draft picks and took upon the salary that he had already had for $28 million. And it's a zero dead cap hit the following season. So it's like the risk is not as crazy. And it's also like the contract, you can afford to bench a guy like that at this moment in time. They paid Heineke before the season. I think Heineke's deal was $3 million or something.
Yeah, it was like 2 years, like 4-point-something million.
Right, something like that. So he's getting paid backup money,
yeah.
but it was that kind of backup money where it was like, if we need you to come in, we're paying you to come in. This isn't like that low-tier backup money. It was very similar to the Tyrod Taylor situation, I feel like. So I just think it's a little bit different. As far as Heineke going to Denver as a backup, maybe, possibly. The play style is pretty similar to Russell Wilson, actually. But I think that Denver's going to die on that Russell Wilson thing for at least another year, guaranteed, and probably at least 2 years, at least.
So, like, I see some similarities in this, obviously. And I think, Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, and as Yam is saying in the chat now, which is what I've kind of been preaching during my defense of Carson Wentz starting in that game, is that there's two completely different teams from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Obviously, it sucks too because even when Carson Wentz finally got in, he didn't have that prime Washington team that Heineke had during that stretch. Not to take anything away from Taylor Heineke and what he did, because as Awthentik has pointed out on numerous occasions, there's times in those games where as many of the bad things that Heineke did and the things he didn't do, he made big plays when it counted during a lot of those games.
Wasn't Jahan Dotson hurt during the stretch for Heineke?
We didn't talk about that. For parts of that, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
No.
We didn't talk about that.
It was just, I understand where you're looking at it, because I think the big difference is that, and Beige Boy said it in the chat, is that the Broncos were stuck with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Like, the difference in the investment between Russell Wilson and Carson Wentz is just night and day. The thing is the one thing I think that would work in Yam's theory in his favor would be that because it's you had to look at Carson Wentz, evaluate him enough to know what to do next season, because there's probably no in between. It's either you cut him or you keep him on. So, the evaluation of a player is so important, especially at the quarterback position, that I think that would maybe be the only saving grace to where they would have started Wentz throughout. But it's just, we're never going to know. I don't see a situation where Carson Wentz comes back. Unfortunately for Carson Wentz, I don't see a situation where he starts anywhere. Just because
that might be a wrap for him.
I just don't think he's there physically anymore. I just think it's tough, man, because he can make the throws, but it's like we already know. We talk about it here all the time on Awthentik and The Beard. You got to be able to make plays. And I just don't think that he can
Especially
do
with
that
your legs.
anymore.
And you know what else, though? I think something to consider is we saw when Russell Wilson had the hand injury, right? And each circumstance can be a little bit different because Dak Prescott came back off the hand injury. And, yeah, he's got a couple interceptions here since he's gotten back, 10 interceptions and whatnot. But he's still playing like the Dak Prescott we have come accustomed to seeing for the most part. Russell Wilson last year, when he came back off that thumb injury, he wasn't the same quarterback. He didn't look the same. And I think a lot of people did overlook that with Carson Wentz. You know, you come back off a thumb injury. I mean, just think about it like a sprained ankle. Like, yeah, your ankle is healthy again, but you're not running on it like you were the same way you were before the injury happened. And same thing could be happening with Carson Wentz with the thumb as far as accuracy goes. But then there's also the decision-making. I went back and I looked at the last interception on the third interception that he threw against the Browns. I didn't see pass interference again, but I saw a wrong decision by the quarterback throwing it into double coverage with the safety high. The safety goes to Jahan Dotson's side, and Cam Sims is not wide open or anything, but he's on the left side of the sideline one-on-one. And I think that's why Carson Wentz, you saw the body demeanor when he was done making that throw, like, damn, I really just screwed that up. I completely made the wrong read. So those things you can't blame on what's happening with the thumb, but I will give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, that the injury could be kind of slowing down his play a little bit. But like you said, physically, he just doesn't seem to be the same quarterback. The mobility is completely gone, and it's been gone for a long time. And I think this goes to show you, with him and what he did with the Colts, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions that year. If they were to get themselves a decent quarterback over there in Indianapolis, they could probably really make some noise. And it was a bit inflated, because you had the best running back in football, in the backfield with Carson Wentz there. And I'm sure that helped him out as far as passing the ball down the field.
But to me also, to kind of, bring things back to this game, I think that if you're going to start a guy, you want to know what he's got. I mean, this is a great place to do it. I mean,
okay, so let me take you to this right here before you get too far into your answer here. Is this the right move to start Sam Howell versus the Cowboys in the season finale?
100%, yes.
You see, I won't say 100%, and I'll tell you why. If fans see Sam Howell come out here and he looks bad, going into next season, they're not going to have confidence in him taking over the reins, taking the keys over.
And this is the thing, though, is that if a fan it goes with that narrative, they're a fanatic. They're not a fan. You have to understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why earlier I said, I was like, if he goes out, you can't evaluate him off of this one game, because if he goes out here and throws 5 touchdowns and, we know the story of Matt Flynn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Matt Flynn starts for Aaron Rodgers in the last game, goes crazy, gets
but also the thing with Matt Flynn is he just never got the opportunity really again. They just said,
he got the huge contract,
and we got Russell Wilson, and it's a wrap for you. Very different than this Sam Howell situation, because we got the draft coming up. If Washington goes quarterback in the first round, let's say you see a lackluster performance on Sunday, I think it will aid to you drafting a quarterback in the first round. If you see a 5-touchdown performance from this kid on Sunday, they're going to reconsider drafting that quarterback in the first round.
But what I'm saying is that, like, you can't base it. That's the thing that sucks about him only being able to play one game, because you can't base it off of just one game either way. Because, the point I was making about Matt Flynn is with Matt Flynn, he was with Green Bay, got in, played for Aaron Rodgers, had that crazy game.
Then a few crazy games too.
Yeah,
there's a few.
That season ends. The Seahawks give him the bag, and what do? They draft. Even after they gave him the bag, they drafted Russell Wilson in the 3rd round, right after giving him the bag as an insurance policy. And so then they get to camp, and they realize that Russell Wilson is better than Matt Flynn. So it's like, you basically waste the money, but it's like, that's a case where you're making the conclusion where this guy is going to be good based off of, 1, maybe 2 games where he played for Aaron Rodgers. And then the other end, obviously, is if he comes out here and does, completely, poops the bed, and then you can't just be like, oh, he doesn't have it, because it's only one game.
I wouldn't think you would jump the gun and say he doesn't have it. But to say it's 100% the right move is what I'm responding to, right? I just think that, you playing this kid in this last game, kind of like what you're saying there, it's not going to do too much for his stock, so why do it?
Because, I mean, he has to have...
If anything, he's probably going to go out there and not be ready, probably throw a few interceptions. the big difference here is he's a 5th rounder, too, at the end of the day. When comparing it to Matt Flynn and Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn comes in. He's supposed to be the starter. They draft a guy in the 3rd round who they think, they're definitely thinking Russell Wilson has potential. He was overlooked because of his height, obviously, and he wasn't one of the top-tier quarterbacks coming out of that draft. You get to camp, and I'm not going to say it's lucky, but you're like, whoa, this car runs better than that car. I guess I'm driving that car to work. So it's that kind of vibe. So for me, I'm not saying I wouldn't go I wouldn't lean towards one way or the other 100% like you just did is all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's like completely the wrong move, and I'm not saying it's completely the right move, but I'm just saying like I do think you're kind of setting them up here. I saw Gregory in the chat, and he said 2 things. He said, what's it going to take to trade for Dexter Lawrence? We're not doing that, bro. Just my mind went like this.
Spike don't care.
Okay? And then secondly, he said, you don't want to just throw this kid out there to the Wolves. We're talking about a Cowboys defense that is no slouch right now. They lead the NFL right now with 32 takeaways, okay? They back-to-back years, they're over 30 takeaways. They can be the first team to lead the NFL in takeaways since the Steel Curtain. That's before me and you were born. They also lead the NFL with 20 forced fumbles right now. That's the most since 1994. So I just think, just like Gregory said, you about to take this young 5th-round quarterback who, if he was ready a few weeks ago, why you didn't think about it back then? When you were struggling with Carson Wentz in his last game, you could have been like, you know what, man, we're down 2 scores. Let's just put the kid in, Or even when Carson Wentz is hurt and Heineke is struggling, as you called it, in a whole month of struggling football, San Francisco 49ers, Carson Wentz comes back, but you could have played this kid in that game too. So to me, it just screams he's not really ready. And then the whole Taylor Heineke story you just told me where they're like, hey, Heineke, we want you to start. But Heineke's like, you know what? Pump them brakes because y'all did me extremely dirty. I'm not going in the game. Y'all should actually start this guy. I think it is kind of like,
I think Heineke did that more so for Sam Howell than
I don't know, dog. Think about it. I played quarterback. Y'all abandoned me, dog. Let's just say junior varsity year, they go with a G, but they all the way up until we're eliminated when I broke my collarbone, right? And then they get eliminated and they're like, hey, we want you to, come back in and play quarterback. I'll be like, screw y'all. Go with him.
You want to know what jersey Heineke was wearing in the locker room today?
Sam Howell.
No. Shane Falco.
Shane Falco from the Replacements?
Yeah.
That's funny. That movie's that's one of the worst football movies. I keep it real with you. That's a bad football movie. I'll watch it because I love football and I love any football movie.
The kicker smoking a cigarette, though. The kicker
guy.
smoking a cigarette, man. That's
that was good. And Gene Hackman, right? I want to say it was Gene Hackman.
Yeah, Gene Hackman was a coach. Yeah.
That's a good cast of characters if they do it like 15 years after that movie came out.
Yeah.
So you think the Sam Howell's the right move? I think it's a puzzling move. I will say that.
Well, what else are you going to do, though?
Just put Carson Wentz back out there.
But why wouldn't you want to see what Sam Howell can do?
No, not against the Dallas Cowboys defense.
That's the test. This is the ultimate. Listen,
I told you why.
You get to the end of the level,
of him looking bad.
Listen,
so poor that you say it's not going to help him lean one way or the other. But I'm telling you, the fan base, especially, if they see this kid go out there and throw 3 interceptions like Carson Wentz, they're not going to be thinking about him next year. They're going to be like, draft a damn quarterback, bring in a real quarterback.
But he's going to be here next year. He's on contract to be here.
Oh, yeah, I mean, considering him taking the keys over of this offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at it like this, though. If he does go out there and throw 3 interceptions, it's easier to be like, oh, he's going against Dallas Cowboys. They're fighting for the number 1 position, and you know what I'm saying? They got a big defense.
You're being real kind right now.
I'm just saying, to me, it's
gonna be like, he ain't the guy.
Of course.
He was already a 5th rounder.
We know
he's not the guy.
1 out of 3, man. 1 out of 3. Listen, if you got a rookie quarterback and you're eliminated, the common thing to do is to play the rookie, right? Give him some game experience. It's a logical decision. You don't get a lot of those in here in Washington. So let's get a little bit of an applause for a logical decision and to, play the rookie when you're eliminated.
I'm not going to go with this being a logical decision. I'm not going to go with that. Because the kid don't seem ready to me. But we don't got to harp on it. But
we don't know. We don't know because, we're not in practice.
There's clearly a quarterback issue in Washington,
When is there not?
There has never been. There's always been a problem in Washington. Mark Rippon, maybe? No, I was going to give you Mark Brunell. But I don't know. He was getting kind of old.
He was a guy that they brought in like Carson Wentz. It just worked a little bit better than Carson Wentz.
It worked a lot better than Carson Wentz.
Did they make the playoffs with Mark Brunell at quarterback?
I'm not too sure, but I remember him playing some decent ball. And let me see how many years he was over there, actually.
I felt like he was only played here for 1 year.
Let's see. People forget about Mark Brunell. He was in Washington for 3 seasons. 1, 2, 3.
But he only started for 1 year, right? One or
all
two?
3, he started at least. He started all 3 seasons. 9 one season. 16. That was in 2004. The first season he started 9. The second season he started He started 15 games, played in 16, and then in 2006, the third season, he started 9 and played in 10. He was 3-6, 9-6, and 3-6.
Yeah.
Completion percentage the first year, 49.8. 23 touchdowns and 10 interceptions the second year. The first season, he only had 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
I remember one game he started like 21 of 21.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And it wasn't he was the
it.
quarterback. He was the quarterback in the Dallas Monday night game with Santana Moss.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't remember he wasn't there for more than 1 year. Because that was a blur for you.
Yeah,
those
because
were some years.
He came. Oh yeah,
yeah. Those years
I remember exactly where I was during that game. We were at Tony Cadelli's house in Codge Park. That Monday night game. Man, there was beers flying across the room when Santana Moss had that pass. I mean, it was.
Yeah, those were good. Those were good times back then. I remember.
Listen,
major fight broke out one day in that apartment.
So can I? Do I have another question? Do I get another question?
If you want to ask me another question, you can.
Oh no, I just wasn't sure. If I had another question. I kind of like the questions, but if we don't have another question, I guess I'm gonna have to give you guys a reason why the Washington Commanders are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to Sonny Jurgensen. They're going to be retiring.
The only franchise quarterback in Washington football history.
They're going to be retiring Sonny Jurgensen's jersey in this game.
What's that, number 9? I think he was number 9.
Yeah. So, more than likely, Dallas is going to just destroy Washington in this game. Right?
You're supposed to give us reasons why y'all going to win.
I know. Sam Howell.
Okay.
Man, things could be so different. If they would have just decided to sell the team before they changed the name, and I would have been okay if they didn't go with Red Tails and they went with Red Wolves instead of the Commanders. Can you imagine it being Red Wolves and we were in, the Wolf Pack was in the wolf den, and everybody was howling like wolves for Sam Howell.
Take a page out of the program.
They're howling for Howell.
Is it who's the Wolf Pack in college?
The NC State.
NC State Wolf Pack. Just borrowing names. Y'all name sounds like an XFL name already. Now you want to take from NC State. You want to take from the program. What's my man's name? Joe Kane. You want Joe Kane at quarterback too? You want Sam Howell at quarterback?
I feel like Joe Kane is Carson Wentz, basically. Carson Wentz.
Hold on. The disrespect you just put on Joe Kane's name. You ain't never seen Carson Wentz put the women and children in bed and go hunting for dinner. You ain't never seen that, dog. Come on now. Disrespect.
Listen, okay. At that moment, yeah. I feel like I disrespected.
I'm ready for the trivia segment now, dog. Did y'all just hear this dude?
I disrespected Joe Kane, but because when I think about Carson Wentz now at this stage, I feel like he's like every old white guy that plays quarterback. He's Cap Rooney.
No, he's not. He ain't Tom Brady. He ain't Aaron Rodgers.
Tom Brady.
Hey, you want to know what quarterback is eerily similar to Joe Kane? He was a Giants quarterback.
Danny Cannell. Kerry Collins.
Kerry Collins. Because if you remember correctly,
he had
Joe Kane was, after the games, he was going to the bar. He was pounding beers. He had an alcoholic problem. He had some women troubles on the side. He was going through. His life was getting in the way of his football. But he still went out there and put the women and children to bed and went hunting for dinner with Omar Epps and the gang. And our offensive lineman's father we just saw the other day, Alvin Mack. Come on, man. Come on, don't do that, man. Don't do that. Don't ever put Carson Wentz in the same breath as Joe Kane, man. Come on. Apologize, man.
I'm sorry, Joe Kane. No, I know the logical thing is to pick the Dallas Cowboys, but I mean, if I did the logical thing, I wouldn't be a Washington Commanders fan, and I wouldn't be wearing a shirt that says "Beat Dallas." So I'm gonna take the Washington Commanders to win this game by a final score of 27-24.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. That's crazy. Shout out to a
What else?
couple
What
of
else am I
Washington
supposed to
Commanders. You're supposed to take the Cowboys in this one. You're supposed to show up wearing navy blue today. Shout out all the Cowboys fans. Get in their flowers. Tell your sister, hey, congratulations on this victory y'all about to get on Sunday. And pick the Cowboys to win this game in a close one. So you leave some room for error there. You can't go ham and just go to one side. This is like the Carson Wentz pick. All you had to do is say, I told you this on last show. All you had to do is say, man, I hope they made the right decision at quarterback. Personally, I kind of like Carson Wentz. I think he's a good quarterback. Maybe gives us a good chance to win the game. But I'm willing to side with the coaches and go with the best decision that they think is the best decision. Instead, you said, hey, man, bring Carson Wentz in. Carson Wentz the better quarterback.
I think I sounded pretty much like how you said I should have sounded. I just think that
these commercials that's going around
red
right now
flag,
where they throw the flag.
Man,
yeah.
Listen,
I need a good red flag in here. So
I wish I could do that so bad. Because
one day we'll have AI technology where it'll just be on demand. Like, Siri, can you please show me the clip from when the Beard picked the Commanders to start Carson Wentz, and bam, it's right there.
Because there'd be so many times where my wife is like, I told you this, and I'm like,
you don't even know what's going on.
I have no idea.
You remember how you talked about the Mark Brunell era, 2003 to 2006? It was all a blur. I'm sure a lot of that has a lot to do with it.
Maybe not.
I'd bank on yeah. But let's give a shout out to a couple of players from the Commanders that have done some damage this year.
A lot of 34-6.
Because y'all going to get stomped for sure. But Terry McLaurin, man, he leads Washington right now with 74 catches. He's got 1,117 yards. He needs just 2 yards to set a career high. So hopefully Sam Howell can get at least one completion to your boy, Terry McLaurin. And Jahan Dotson, he's tied for the most touchdown receptions by a rookie this year with 7. I'm curious, before we move on to this and I give you my score, what's going to go on with Daron Payne entering next season? He's a free agent, right? And he leads y'all right now with 11.5 sacks and 18 tackles for loss.
I hope that they don't franchise tag him. That's my biggest fear. I'd rather them get a long-term deal done. Would be more ideal for me. So I think they find a way to sign him with the money that they're going to save from Carson Wentz.
Got you. That's what's up. Do they save? Oh, they save like $5 million or something if they cut Carson Wentz before.
Yeah,
March,
well,
right?
I mean, not necessarily save, but the money that they would have spent, this season and next season, if it would have been successful sort of situation.
Yeah, because they when they brought Carson Wentz over, they brought him over for a 2-year plan, and we all know that's not going to work out. So what's your score prediction for this one? You got the Commanders, obviously, in a W. What's the score prediction?
27-24.
Okay, you got it at least kind of close. I think the Cowboys are going to come out here and really show that they're ready for the playoffs. They got a lot on the line here, man. A number 1 seed possibly. I don't know. I can't remember what time this game is at. I think both games are at 4 o'clock.
4:25, yeah.
Right?
I think both are at 4:25.
So they'll be playing while the Giants are playing the Eagles in hopes that the Giants can take care of business. I'm going to say the Cowboys win this one. I'm going to go 20. Sam Howell at quarterback. What could he do? There's no tape on him. I'm going to say 27-6 Cowboys. No touchdowns in Sam Howell's debut. Graphics department, editing department, get this ready because it's gonna be a hot take.
How many picks?
I'll go 2 interceptions. I really want to say 1. I'll go 2.
I think he goes 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 320 yards.
Damn. Okay, with that offensive line.
I bet my guy is like Heineke, man, but better with the legs and the shiftiness and
does Heineke have a 300-yard game this year?
I don't think Heineke has a 300-yard game in his career.
Now, back to Hayden. Back to Hayden. He does not have a 300-yard game this year. Doesn't.
I don't think he has one in his career, bro.
Playoffs? He had 300 in the playoffs, though, right? I feel like he did. Aaron Rodgers, bro, that man's getting old, but he's still out here doing his thing. He's still out here balling. I just saw a picture of Aaron Rodgers when I looked up Heineke's stats. I just want to we got time, so I want to look into his game logs a little bit here from last season. Let's see, his 2021 game logs. Yeah, he's got a 300-yard game against the New York Giants. Wow.
Oh.
Week 2 in that game where Daniel Jones went off too. He went for 336, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That was his only 300-yard game of the season last year.
So, yeah, one 300-yard game in his career.
Man, you don't know nothing about your team, do you?
I mean, that's basically zero.
No, let me take that back. It's Heineke. You just ignore it. And anything that's positive about Heineke is just like, that dude ain't got 300 yards.
I was one off. Usually you get that's like the room of error on a
Maybe.
assumption.
I mean, that playoff game too, though, I think he threw for 300. You want me to take a look at the playoff
We might as well
logs?
take a look at it. So, I mean, if I'm wrong, I'd like to at least know I'm wrong. I give myself 1. If I say 0 and he has 1, that falls in the room of error allowed on an assumption.
Let's see if he has 2, right? Should we?
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Take a look. We're there. We're here.
I saw 381. That was Tom Brady. Yep, 300 in the playoff game. How do I remember these things?
How
and
much?
You don't?
How much was it? Like
306.
306? Yeah.
Yep. He said, yeah. 306, yeah. I like that.
Barely.
Yeah, so I got 27-6. You got 27. So we both got 27 for one team, but you got 27-24 for your Commanders. That'd be a good pick, man. You think you will feel a little bit better if y'all beat Dallas this last game of the season as far as how the season went?
Absolutely. And listen,
keeping that that streak of 6 straight years without a winning record or with losing records.
Before I forget, never in my life will I cheer for a loss from my team.
I mean,
for
that was
better...
not the question. You moved
I
the
know,
goalposts
but
and everything.
I have to make
look
this
right
a
into
point.
the camera to move the goalposts and everything.
Never in my life will I ever root for my team to lose to improve a draft position, especially against the Dallas Cowboys. So for all you fair weather fake fans out there, okay, saying
don't
we should lose this, we should lose this game so that we can get a better shot at a higher draft position to draft a quarterback. It's not the way. Go Commanders, beat Dallas at all costs.
Facts. But root for your team how you want to root for your team.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yes. That's
if you want to root for a loss and you want a better draft, man, do your thing. Do your thing. Over here, the Beard, he's not going to do that. He's rooting for a W. He wants to see the Commanders.
Play to win the game.
Sam
You
Howell
play
win the game.
To win
Sunday.
the game.
What's my man's name?
Herm Edwards.
Yeah.
The great
My
philosopher.
lady says when I get really old, I'm going to look like Herm Edwards and Tony Dungy. I'm like, damn, you're doing me dirty, cuz. Shout out Tony Dungy and Herm Edwards one time, yo, in the building. All right,
Coach
so we got
Bush,
another trivia giveaway we're going to get into here one time. I'm kind of glad we're off that game right there. This is not meaningful, right? The beard hit him with the...
Everything is meaningful in the world and life of football.
It's a good way to look at it, man. You know, it's good. That's the opposite of what is it? Unicorns and rainbows. Everything is unicorns and that's how you're looking at life right now. Everything's unicorns and rainbows, authentic. Okay,
I wish,
man. Everything in life is important. I like that. All right, well, let's cue up these jazz flutes one more time here, man. We got another trivia question. We're going to be giving away a couple of New York Giants rookie cards. Now that we got 3 left with 2 trivia questions, maybe you guys are going to have some options here. I don't know how the Beard's going to handle this one. Again, Beard, go over the rules one time for them so they know what's good when we see things on our end.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you answer the question in the chat, we have to go by who we see on our end answer first, which may look different than what you see on your end due to different internet lags and speeds. So in order for us to be fair here at Awthentik and The Beard, because we are always fair here at Awthentik and The Beard, we have to go by who we see first in our chat. And we will confirm with one another, and we will announce a winner.
All right.
I felt very like the guy that does the background stuff on Price is Right.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's like the dude when they got the prize, like, you know, and they showing you what you bidding for today, you know? Yeah. My girl's really good at that. We watch what is that, Pluto TV a lot, and they got the Price is Right channel. I suggest if you into Price is Right, get Pluto. They be showing Price is Right from the 70s. It is the most difficult thing to try to guess how much something cost in 1974. A pack of Trident gum cost you like 20 cents. It was a totally different time, but I definitely recommend it. Bob Barker is the GOAT one time. Bob Barker is the GOAT of hosting shows, and he did that thing for like 20-plus seasons, man, so big shout out to him one time. But I hope y'all got y'all thinking caps on, man. I hope you got your Google fingers ready. This one might take some Googling. This one is a little bit more of a difficult trivia question. Beard, you ready? I'm getting used to it. I saw you kind of getting a little hezzy. All right, today's trivia question. This one is New York Giants related. This Giant played 10 seasons in New York and holds the franchise record for the most career forced fumbles. Give y'all a little bit of time to get your answers popping. Again, it's the first one that we see in our chat. Let's see how the chat's coming in with this one right here one time. Shout out Rudy T one time in the building, man. You already know, repping that big blue. The gang is in the building. Yes, sir. Ligma said, I need these rookie cards. Ah. Hey.
I see it.
I see it too. Let me get a little confirmation one time. You see, let me see. This one is
I concur.
That was quick, man. I swear I didn't even press enter and you like, I concur. Internet, them speeds over here is rocking. All right, today's trivia answer for today's question. This Giant played 10 seasons in New York and holds the franchise record for the most career forced fumbles. Is none other than O.C. Umenyiora, who holds the Giants franchise record for the most career forced fumbles with 32. Shout out to the graphics department. When they were looking this up earlier and told me about this one, I was extremely surprised to see that O.C. Umenyiora had 32 forced fumbles in 10 seasons, bro.
That's 3 a season, basically.
That's crazy right there. And OC came out in doing a little research on this. He came out and he said he saw a lot of Kayvon Thibodeau in himself, man. So hopefully the next person to break this record would be Kayvon Thibodeau. That would be extremely amazing. And today's trivia winner for our second question of the night, we got one more to go, is none other than the homie Ligma in the building one time, who said he needs these rookie cards. He did say that. And he also said, he gave you some Ron Burgundy vibes. He said, yeah. OC?
With the question mark.
Gotta love it. Big shout out to Ligma. And also, I didn't say this earlier to Kai. Make sure you send us your information on Twitter. DM us your address. We already follow Kai, so we know it's Kai. But as far as Ligma, make sure you reach out. And if you aren't on Twitter and don't want to engage in that debauchery that happens on Twitter, you can send an email to authentic@allornothingstudios.com. The way that I spell it, you know the deal. AWTHENTIK @allornothingstudios.com. So big shout out to Ligma.
I'm gonna give him a choice, right?
I think you can. I said that's up to you. That's up to you, bro.
All right, I'm not gonna show you the cards. I'm gonna let you. You have to choose a name. You want Xavier McKinney, because this is a defensive question, so we're gonna give you a defensive card. Xavier McKinney.
Oh, that ain't giving him a choice. What is that?
Or Julian Love. I'm curious to see what the answer's gonna be. Xavier McKinney or Julian Love. Where is he gonna go, ladies and gentlemen? He's like, oh my God, I don't know. Which one? Where should I go?
I'd go with the Xavier. I'll keep it funky with you. I'm going Xavier. Julian Love. Ooh, I like it. I like it. I like it. That's what's up.
Congratulations on Notre Dame's own Julian Love rookie card. Congratulations to Ligma. You have won a Julian Love rookie card.
That's a pretty one, man. That's a pretty one. That is a pretty one, man. Make sure you reach out to us, Ligma, and we'll get that shipped out to you as soon as possible. Big shout out to the Beard and Over the Years Sports for sponsoring today's trivia segment. We got one more winner we're going to have after we do the Giants game. Let's take a quick little baby commercial break one time. And when we get back, we're going to dive into this New York Giants and Philadelphia Eagles matchup one time.
Your wide receiver on IR? Aw, shucks. Your running back keep fumbling every week? Man, damn it all. Well, come chop it up with your boys. We are waiver wire tight. Awthentik and The Beard. Every Sunday morning, streaming live at 11 a.m.
Giants are on the board with 11:16 to go here in the third.
All right, let's get to business one time, man. Y'all know what it is. The gang is in the building. We on our way to the playoffs. I told y'all I'm just showing up today because I got to. It's part of the business. I'm on my Marshawn Lynch vibes here one time. I do hope we can get this win against the Eagles, though, but the Giants will be stuck at the number 6 seed no matter what goes down. Giants are 9-6-1 headed to Philadelphia to take on the 13-3 Eagles. And I don't know what's going on in Vegas right now, but the Eagles are favored by 14 whole damn points. This makes no damn sense. Last time the Giants played the Eagles ended up beating us 48-22 when they dog walked us one time in MetLife Stadium. I did call that. I didn't think the Giants were prepared for that game, and it showed up on the field, man. The Eagles came out there and they handled business. Since then, the Giants defeated the Washington Commanders. They lost on a last-second field goal to the Minnesota Vikings, and then they handled business to get into the playoffs against the Indianapolis Colts last week. For the Eagles, Jalen Hurts suffered that shoulder injury against Chicago in Week 15. Backup quarterback, the Beard's best homie, the antonym to the Beard one time, Gardner Minshew in the stash, lost the last 2 games. Those were against the Cowboys and against the New Orleans Saints. I called that upset as well. If the Giants can earn a road victory in Philadelphia and the 49ers beat the Cardinals, then the 49ers secure the number 1 seed in the NFC. Now, I'm loving the changes that the New York Giants have done to this offense. Since we saw it in Washington in person, a lot of short, quick passing concepts, passing early in games, early on downs, running the ball extremely well out of the 11 personnel. And since that matchup against Washington, man, the Giants have definitely been using 11 personnel a ton. 79% of the time they line up with 3 wide receivers and a tight end and 1 running back. And I'm loving the runs that we saw strictly against the Commanders. A lot of runs out of that shotgun with Saquon Barkley. We even saw one time, that was against the Commanders as well. 3 straight runs out of that shotgun to put that game on ice. Philadelphia, they also use the 11 personnel a lot as well. On the season, they're using 11 personnel 72% of the time. Now, you got tight end Dallas Goedert, who has returned to the lineup, but Hurts has not played with Dallas Goedert since he was injured in Week 10. We don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to play in this game. I reached out to my homie Lord Brunson one time on Twitter. I asked him, I said, you got to let me know the real deal, bro. I know you tapped in. You're real close to the Philadelphia Eagles fan base and what's going on in that locker room. Is Jalen Hurts going to play? He said, absolutely. I don't know how much we should trust Lord Brunson. That might be more hope than it actually is actual truth. I'm not too sure. But I thought this was pretty funny because I saw a conversation with Lord Brunson. That's my guy. And he was chopping it up with some Dallas Cowboys fans. Dallas Cowboys fans like to give Lord Brunson a lot of shit all the time. I see it pretty much daily.
I thought I had it bad here on Tuesday.
That
guy, he gets it.
And he seems to always want to smoke. But I saw him in response to one of the Dallas Cowboys fans. He said, this was about 3 weeks ago, he said, what are we going to lose? 3 straight games and lose out? You think y'all got a chance? Well, if the New York Giants beat the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys are indeed going to have a chance. Now, I hope we get to see this matchup between 2 young quarterbacks, Daniel Jones versus Jalen Hurts. That would be really amazing. We missed out on one of those games last season because Daniel Jones was hurt. It'd be great to see these 2 go at each other. Now, these are a couple things that I noticed coming into the week. I don't know if I don't want to say I don't know if you noticed this, but I don't know if you noticed this. Jalen Hurts used to wear number 2. Seamlessly made the change to number 1. Not enough people talking about that. Maybe that's because he was the backup quarterback, number 2 on the depth chart. Got that starting job and said, you know what? I'm about to rock that number 1 now. But he looked real good in that number 2 and in that number 1. Definitely ready to take on the New York Giants. They said he was ready last week, but they wanted to, take precaution. We'll see what happens with Jalen Hurts. I hope they bring out Jalen Hurts in this matchup. I think it'll be really great for the New York Giants defense to get a bit of a test, whether it's going to be against backups or it's going to be against starters. There's no way the Giants are going to be able to rest everyone in this game. So some of these starters are going to have to play. But Jalen Hurts on the season, man, he's got 13 rushing touchdowns, which is that's just ridiculous. 3,472 passing yards. Completion percentage is the thing that really impressed me the most. 67.3 completion percentage on the year. 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's got 35 total touchdowns. So this dude is indeed a candidate for the MVP award for sure, even while being injured for the last couple of games. Hurts also has 747 rushing yards on 156 carries. He needs just 37 yards to breach his career high of 784 yards on the ground in 2021. That was when he led the Philadelphia Eagles in rushing, and they were the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. Now, Daniel Jones on the other side of the coin here, he's got 22 total touchdowns, 5 interceptions on the year as well, a 67% completion percentage on the year. That's 8th in the NFL. That's 8th best. And he's got 3,205 yards, which is 15th in the NFL. And Daniel Jones has the 2nd fewest turnovers in the NFL right now with just 8 turnovers on the season. You know who's number 1, right?
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is number 1. Fun fact. I love when people say fun fact. Fun fact is such a Caucasian way to set something up. Fun fact. That's exactly why Jalen Hurts switched his number. I didn't know that. That's crazy. That is actually pretty crazy. But Jalen Hurts, man, I've always been a big fan of single-digit numbers. My cousin, who showed me how to play quarterback when I was coming in as a 14-year-old freshman, he wore that number 2 at Einstein. He was all-state as well, balled out, went on to Howard, played cornerback out there, and then got signed by the Washington, formerly known as the Washington Redskins. Then he played in the CFL. Big shout-out to my cousin. And that number 2 looks, I love the single digits. I wore number 4 in high school. Cuzzo wore number 2. Number one was a little
8.
bit. You wore number 8, facts. You wore some other number, I feel like.
Nah, 8 all the way, baby. 8
so
throughout.
when did you wear 8 without the black jerseys?
I didn't play without the black jersey because
Oh,
I didn't
you
play
didn't
my
play on
freshman
JV.
year. I didn't play my freshman year.
And sophomore year, y'all didn't wear black
Yeah, we wore black.
on JV? Nah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that off camera. But nah,
you can
that's not
see
true.
it in the picture in the intro.
That's
man.
from varsity.
That is from varsity.
It is. You see, you just trying to lie your way up out of this situation right now. But I tried to give you the pass and say we'll talk about it off air. But there was another number. Them 2003 to 2006 years, they're a little bit of a blur. But we'll talk about it off camera. But the single digits always look fire. But as far as Jones now, Jalen Hurts he has the fewest turnovers in the league. He's got 1 less fumble than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has 3 fumbles lost on the season. Jalen Hurts has 2. Jones hasn't been sacked in 2 out of his last 3 games, which is, for me,
That's huge.
the quick passing attack is directly the reason why that's happening. Mike Kafka has done a brilliant job of switching things up. Wink Martindale has done a brilliant job of switching things up as well. We're going to get to that in a little bit. Now, Jones has 708 rushing yards on the season on 120 rushes. So Jalen Hurts has been getting a lot more attempts, and Daniel Jones has the better yards per carry. This is a career high for Daniel Jones, and it's also a Giants record. No Giant has ever rushed for this many yards at the quarterback position. Granted, we've had a bunch of Cap Rooneys playing quarterback pretty much for the New York Giants for the whole entire existence of the franchise. So Daniel Jones is really like our first running quarterback. I want to say that confidently. Yeah, he's pretty much our first running quarterback. Now let's talk about these weapons a little bit. Isaiah Hodgins, man, he has stepped in and done a fantastic job for the New York Giants. He's got 4 touchdowns in his last 5 games. He's got 33 receptions on the season, 351 yards of receiving yards as well, and the 4 touchdowns total this year. Love what Richie James has been doing out of the slot. I was talking with Entertainer a little bit on Twitter about this. I would love to bring Richie James back. I think Richie James could be the starter in the slot next year, all pending on what the Giants, do in the draft and who they bring in as far as wide receivers, in free agency and possibly a trade. I don't know where the money's going to come from, but I ain't counting pockets. I believe in Joe Shane and Brian Dable. Just put the best players you can on the field. I think Richie James could be one of those best players. He has 75 yards or more in back-to-back games right now, 569 yards on the season, 57 receptions, and 4 touchdowns. Now, Richie James has an 81.4% catch rate on the year. I had to correct one of my homies who was like, he said, if the New York Giants wide receivers had hands, maybe Daniel Jones would have less interceptions. So I was like, you can't forget about the Carolina game where there was a dropped interception right in the breadbasket. You can't forget about the Colts game, too. On the first drive, Daniel Jones almost threw an interception on that first drive as well. So they go hand in hand. I think these wide receivers have stepped up and done a fantastic job. Daniel Bellinger on the year, in just 12 games, he's got 30 receptions. And this is the thing that really stood out to me. 30 receptions on 35 targets. That's ridiculous right there. That's solid work from the tight end position. I'd love to see if Daniel Bellinger could become one of these, like, perennial tight ends, you know, with some more experience, because I think he has a great skill set. He's got the bruiser type of stuff. He can block. He can catch the ball. He can get downfield. The one route and the one concept that I haven't seen Bellinger catch that much that I would like to see a little bit more out of him is the seam route. You don't see him catching the seam route. And when we saw, tight ends like Jeremy Shockey and tight ends like Kevin Boss, they were doing a great job on the seam route. And Eli Manning would throw the ball in tight windows, and you'd see them come up with great receptions. But Daniel Bellinger, nonetheless, has done a great job. And it's crazy that I got something in my eye as I'm talking about Daniel Bellinger, right? It's kind of crazy, right? Maybe I need to wear a visor on Awthentik and The Beard, when we show up. But can't go without talking about Saquon Barkley as well. Saquon Barkley's been balling out this year. Last week's game, before they put him on ice and just, told him, man, go over there, chill, get some high fives to your teammates, enjoy this victory, support Daniel Jones. He had 12 rushes for 58 yards. He's got a career high this year of 1,312 yards on the ground. 10 touchdowns, just one away. So I hope he can get another touchdown. I hope Saquon Barkley can get 2 touchdowns in this game, because to me, this has been the best year from Saquon Barkley. We know we had a lot of checkdowns in the first year in 2018 with Eli Manning. It led to Saquon Barkley having 91 receptions. He's got over 50 this year, man. He's definitely been balling out, man. So, I'm proud of Saquon Barkley, and I'm proud of Daniel Jones and the rest of these guys. I wanted to say that about all of these dudes, man, because they stepped up. They're a team that a lot of people wrote off, thought that they were only going to have 4 or 5 wins. I thought they would be somewhere between like 6 and 8 when I looked at the schedule. We never quite made a real prediction on it. But, it's good to see this team have a winning record, most importantly. And now we're trying to get to, 10 wins? If we could get to 10 wins, that would be amazing. I know that'll make a lot of fans feel very happy about this season. And for Coach Brian Dable to come in here and his first season in a rebuild, have this team headed in the right direction, just like I was talking about what Ryan Clark said last year. He's utilizing Daniel Jones, or last show, he's utilizing Daniel Jones to the best capabilities. And he is a franchise quarterback when you put him in position to be able to excel and use his skill set to his best capabilities. So I love what Brian Dable's doing with Daniel Jones. It's not going to bother me one way or the other if Daniel Jones is back or not back next year. I do think he's done enough this season to earn a contract. We'll see how things go and how Joe Shane and Brian Dable feel about, the quarterback position moving into April and moving into the draft. But all of these dudes, big salute to them. Isaiah Hodgins, 78.5 catch rate. Daniel Bellinger, 85.7 catch rate. Darius Slayton, you got a little bit of work to do. We know he had a couple of drop issues early on in the season. He's at 64.7. Now, speaking on the Philadelphia Eagles, last week, without Jalen Hurts, you saw the weapons still look good, but that did not result into a win against a very average ball club in the New Orleans Saints. Devonta Smith, 9 receptions for 115 yards on 13 targets. A.J. Brown had 97 yards on 4 receptions, the big 78-yard touchdown where he just showed that cornerback, I'm a man, you're a boy, you're not going to tackle me, you're not going to make this play. Walked into the end zone. And Miles Sanders, who has also had a good year last game, did what he had to do, I felt like, to get a victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. Turnovers really cost them in that game, and their defense didn't really show up as best as they could. The offense couldn't even get in the red zone. Zero attempts in the red zone. 12 rushes from Miles Sanders for 61 yards, 5.1 yards per carry. That should get it done. Now, on the year, Miles Sanders, 248 attempts, 1,236 yards. I think he's the first 1,000-yard back since Shady, I believe. He's got 11 touchdowns on the season. A.J. Brown's got 84 receptions for 1,400 yards. And 11 touchdowns.
What is that?
That is ridiculous.
What is
that
that
his best
YPC?
season?
It has to be. What's his YPC on that?
He's at 16.7. You know what's funny is every time I do my notes, I don't use YPC because a lot to use YPC for yards per carry. So I use YPR.
I do
16.7 yards per reception.
That's awesome. I mean, that's basically a first down. That's basically like a first down plus every time. I mean, that has to be like only behind Tyreek Hill, maybe. Maybe Mike Williams.
I'll get you those numbers. I will definitely get you those numbers as well. But now, A.J. Brown, this is by far his best season of his career. To date, in 2020, he had 1,075 yards. That was the highest he ever had. So now he's at 1,401. He's beat that by 300 yards. 11 touchdowns, ties a career high for him. And I don't have the yards per reception for every year here, but that's probably a career high for him as well. So for those people that were saying, A.J. Brown makes Jalen Hurts. I don't think it's that. I think it's a little bit of both. One hand wash the other, as my brother would tell me. One hand definitely washes the other in Philadelphia until that water runs dry. I'll give you all a little bit of nod at some bars that are on the new project here one time. But on 135 targets, that is number one wide receiver type of targets right there, 135. Now, Devonta Smith has 4 more receptions than A.J. Brown does on less targets, 7 less targets. He's got 88 receptions. He also breached 1,000 yards. He has 1,129 yards, 11 touchdowns on the season. Both these guys have 11 touchdowns. Is this a 1A, 1B? Let me throw a question at you right now. Is this a 1A, 1B, or is Devonta Smith the number 2 in Philly?
I think Devonta Smith's the number 2, but he's a number 1 on a lot of teams in the NFL. I think we could say that easily. You know what I'm saying?
When you had Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. Was Reggie Wayne the number 2?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say no on that and no on the other one. I think they're both wide receiver 1s in this offense because this is the crazy part. They're predicated on the run. Mm-hmm. They both got 1,000 yards. There's only one other wide receiver duo right now heading into Week 18 that has 1,000 yards.
Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill.
That's it. There are only 16 wide receivers in the whole NFL right now with 1,000 yards, and the Philadelphia Eagles have 2 of them.
And the Eagles. So the Eagles and the Dolphins make up 25% of the NFL's 1,000-yard receivers right now.
Right, which is ridiculous right now. And the thing is, we know with Miami, that's more of a passing type of offense.
Yeah.
The fact that the Philadelphia Eagles can manage to give this many targets to 2 wide receivers is ridiculous.
I think the big thing that it says, too, is they make the most out of every catch.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a lot of those, 8 catches for 86 yards sort of situations. You know what I'm saying?
Devonta Smith early in the year, he wasn't having big games.
Yeah, he had a really big game, right, to start the season. I think it was either the first week or the second week. He had that little stretch of 4 weeks where he kind of disappeared. But he's actually come on strong over the last 4 weeks or so, 4 to 6 weeks. I'd say Devonta Smith is putting up crazy numbers compared to the previous 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, and I felt a little guilty over the weekend, and I can't remember if it was Sebastian or not, but there was somebody who was asking us about Devonta Smith in fantasy, and they were saying, should I start Devonta Smith or another wide receiver? And we went with the other wide receiver. And I think we did them a little bit of a disservice there. But Devonta Smith in his last 4 games, in his last 5 games, he has 4 100-yard performances.
Yeah,
the kid is balling out. And in the first 9 games, he only had 1 100-yard performance. It was against y'all. He put up 169 yards against you guys in week 3. So Devonta Smith is coming into his own. I don't know if you remember on draft night, right? And I recorded myself on draft night, right? I did a reaction video that never came out, right? And I'll never forget it. When Cobb Pizzle showed his draft reaction, it's literally exactly how I felt when the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles traded up to get Devonta Smith. I was in my feelings because I was dead set on getting Devonta Smith. Now, I would say 80% of the Giants nation was like, I don't want to get a wide receiver like Devonta Smith. Remember, the whole thing was he's too skinny, the weight, and blah, 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 blah. And I remember seeing Pizzle's video, and I was like, I'm always about bringing value to the community. And when I saw Pizzle's video, I was like, there's no reason for me to put up my video. And then I saw us draft Kadarius Toney, and it was a very modest, that's not too bad. I was playing Xbox with a homie, and we play Apex Legends. Me and my homie Pat play that game a lot. And it's a game of trios where you dive into a world. It's battle royale style. And our third partner, I noticed that his name on draft night, it was New York Giants something 2016 or something. So me and Patrick, we left the party and we went to just go chop it up with him because it was draft night. I'm like, why don't we just talk to somebody he's got a Giants name? Let me talk to him. He literally was telling me before the Devonta Smith trade up, he was like, I like this kid, Kadarius Toney. So when we drafted Toney, you get those vibes of kind of like how Tony Jefferson said about Landon Collins. I don't know if you saw the clip going around from Sights and Sounds. When Landon Collins got the interception, when they were in the huddle on that play, Tony Jefferson was like, hey, bro, I feel it. You about to get one. Y'all be ready to block, he said. I feel it, LC. You about to get one. LC gets the interception, and he said when they were celebrating, they ran back to the sideline, he said, I felt it in my soul Dexter Lawrence was asking him, like, how did you know, bro? And Tony Jefferson said, I felt it in my soul. So when homie from Xbox is telling me, yo, Kadarius Toney, and then we draft Kadarius Toney, I'm looking at it like it's fate. We all know that did not go the way it was supposed to go. Kadarius Toney gets traded, to the Kansas City Chiefs. I wish him well. It hasn't been a great year. I think he has 2 touchdowns on the year and just like something under 20 catches or something like that. But it's interesting how that all worked out. Another wasted draft pick pretty much for the New York Giants. I won't say completely wasted because we did get, I believe, a second rounder back for Kadarius Toney. So that's some good value, and we'll be able to use that in the upcoming drafts and whatnot. But to see, Devonta Smith excel in his second year the way he has, this dude's going to be a guy. And I think they got to find a way to keep both of them there. This kind of reminds me of the situation that the Dallas Cowboys had for a while when they had Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. You have the savvy kind of a veteran who's proven, has done his damage, as a wide receiver, but they weren't able to pay both of these guys, and they then in return made CeeDee Lamb the number 1 wide receiver. Now, as a Giants fan, I don't hope that A.J. Brown stays in Philly because that makes things difficult on us. I mean, they already got a great running back, great quarterback. They have a great, duo of wide receivers now. Both of them that went over 1,000 yards is going to be really tough. Now, moving forward with these two defenses, in the last matchup, versus the Eagles, the Giants, when we played the Eagles and the Eagles dog-walked us, the Giants definitely struggled. And one of the places that they struggled, and I went off into digging in and looking about this because I saw El Jefe was on with Talking Giants today. Just midday, they did a stream. Shout out to both of them. If y'all didn't get to see that, go check them out. It was a cool stream, had some good laughs in it. But Justin Pennick was talking about, I'm the guy who's always talking about big plays. So I was like, let me look at the big plays, from the last matchup. The Eagles had 19 big plays against the Giants in that last matchup. So that's plays over 10 yards or more. 11 of those 19 plays were running plays. We know the weakness of the New York Giants it's been against the run. I don't know what's going to happen as far as the starters go in this game, but the Giants, can we please come out here and stop the damn run against the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday? Now, on the flip side, when we're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles defense, the Eagles defense is on fire right now. They literally lead the NFL right now with 68 sacks. The next closest team is at 52. That's the New England Patriots, who are in second place right now. The Eagles defense is also tied for second with 17 interceptions. So they are getting to the quarterback. They are causing turnovers, and they're on fire the last 5 games. They have 6 sacks or more in all of their last 5 games. Hassan Reddick, we already know. I've been seeing these debates from the homie Lord Brunson and all these Cowboys fans who are in support of Micah Parsons. LB is saying Hassan Reddick is having a better year than Micah Parsons right now. I ain't dug too far into the stats, but Hassan Reddick has 16 sacks on the year.
It's definitely a very, very, very valid argument. Because I think Hassan Reddick has been more consistent than Micah Parsons. I think there's times
Micah
where
Parsons
Micah
has had the
Parsons
2-sack
disappears.
games, then not have a sack in the game.
But it's interesting you say that about the Philadelphia Eagles defense, because to me, I feel like the last 2 games specifically, obviously without Jalen Hurts, I felt like their defense let them down more so than their offense has. And I wonder how much of that it has.
20-10, 20 points for Philadelphia Eagles. They've won games like that all year long.
They have. But to me, it was just, I think it's just more, not necessarily just the points, but the inability to get the Saints off the field in that game was concerning for me. And then obviously in the Dallas game, they gave up a ton of yards and a ton of points. I think they gave up 40 points in the Dallas game, something like that.
Yeah, that one was a tough one.
Like,
both teams scored over 30 in that one.
And I think that obviously there's a lot to do with it's so weird. We talk about this a lot, or especially over the last couple of seasons, about how important your offense is to your defense. And so I think a lot of the defensive woes over the last 2 weeks, in my opinion, that the Eagles have been suffering, probably has a little bit to do with them not having Jalen Hurts, just because of the offense not being able to stay on the field as long as it normally would with Jalen Hurts.
And what if we said all year? The Philadelphia Eagles are the kind of team that when you shut one thing down, they know how to pivot and go to the next thing. Mm-hmm. I know this your boy and everything, but with Gardner Minshew, a quarterback, coming in and turning the ball over in every game, you're not giving the Eagles a chance to win the game. Yeah. And I talked about this in the first quarter of this Eagles-Saints matchup. When the first quarter was over, the Saints had ran 19 plays. The Eagles had 3 plays. Now, outside of Jalen Hurts' last game, where he did throw 2 interceptions against the Chicago Bears, it was probably – it's weird because he threw for 315 yards, but his completion percentage was down and he had the 2 interceptions. But this is why I brought this all up about the turnovers in the beginning of this game. Jalen Hurts is number 1 in the NFL when it comes to not turning the ball over, which in return makes the Philadelphia Eagles one of the toughest teams to beat because you can control the clock. You can do all these. Even with Washington, it ended up being a 2-score win at the end, but that was because of what happened. It was still a 1-score game, and y'all literally dominated time of possession and total plays.
We forced 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers in that game. That was one of Jalen Hurts' worst games as far as the turnovers go. Because I think he only had
the one interception, and did he fumble?
Yeah, because I think he only had 3 turnovers the entire season.
Sanders?
No, it was just an A.J. Brown fumble in that game also,
it was A.J. Brown. Yeah, it wasn't Jalen Hurts that fumbled, right?
Yeah, but I think, Jalen Hurts, threw 2 interceptions in that game, maybe.
One interception. He had a quarterback rating of 94.2 against y'all with 175 yards. So he did some damage on the ground, too.
Yeah, because he's only had, maybe 2 1-turnover games and then I can't remember which game it was when he turned the ball over twice.
Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears? What about the Jacksonville game?
That's what I was talking about. It's his last game that he played. That's really his worst game. Even though he had 315 yards, it's his worst game. And it's his worst quarterback rating of the season. He had a 64.6 quarterback rating.
Big shout out to Zach for the $4.99 super chat. Because the biggest thing with Philly is Hurts' contract because second-round draft pick doesn't have a 5th-year option. So I think they will have to pick Hurts and Smith. The one good thing is, though, the big difference between the situation with Dallas and Philadelphia is Dallas made the mistake of giving too much money to Zeke, which in turn made they had to pick a sacrifice there. So I think if Philadelphia can maintain
Miles Sanders is up for a contract too.
Yeah, but Miles Sanders isn't gonna get guaranteed. I mean, he's not going to get the demand of the money that Zeke obviously got. Because of the age situation.
Philadelphia Eagles got way more players they're going to have to sign, though.
I don't know their entire roster. What's going to come up?
A lot more stars on that roster right now than the Dallas Cowboys.
I have to dig into the numbers, but I think the big difference is I think they can keep A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and Jalen Hurts, no problem.
Yeah.
The question is going to be where does the sacrifice come? Like you're saying, there's
Miles
a lot
Sanders,
of people
probably,
on the defensive side of the ball too.
And Jalen Hurts has shown you that he don't need no perennial running back in the backfield. He had Jordan Howard, he had Boston Scott, he had Kenneth Gainwell, and all those guys were having pretty great success in the backfield with them last year. Number 1 rushing team, and Miles Sanders was hurt for most of last season. So I do think Miles Sanders is probably going to be the one. I forget the homegirl's name. She a Philadelphia Eagles content creator. I just subscribed to her. I love her channel, man. She does some dope stuff. I'll try to come back to the comment section and link her channel. But she was talking about they got to pay Miles Sanders. Like, you haven't had a 1,000-yard runner since Shady McCoy. You should pay Miles Sanders because he's a big part of making Jalen Hurts a better runner. Granted, I think Jalen Hurts could get it done with an average back as well.
Miles Sanders and Tony Pollard, the same draft. Both of them are free agents.
Miles Sanders wasn't a first-round pick, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm not.
Where did Miles
sure.
Sanders? Man, now I have to look this up because I can't remember where Miles Sanders went to school. I thought he went to Penn State, and he was there before Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, he was a second-round draft pick in 2019.
He went to Penn
so he's
State.
After Saquon though.
No, he's before Saquon, isn't he?
Saquon's drafted in 2018. It says Miles Sanders was drafted in 2019.
So, damn, can you imagine that 2 of them were at Penn State together, Miles Sanders and Saquon
That's crazy.
Barkley?
Yeah, that's crazy. He's averaging 5 yards per carry this year, and we just going to let him walk.
Why do I feel like Miles Sanders is older than he is?
I know, right? It does seem like that.
I feel like Miles Sanders has been long in the league longer.
2019
That's crazy.
was his rookie year.
Now, that changes my whole perspective on the money situation. I mean, shit.
I think that the Eagles are going to find themselves in a situation like the Cowboys. Somebody's going to have to go. A.J. Brown just put up some of the biggest numbers, man, for who? The last wide receiver to do anything like this in Philadelphia. We talked about this a couple of episodes. It was Jeremy Maclin.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a grip ago. That was a grip. You can't let a guy like that go to another team. But hey, I mean, the New York Giants need a number one wide receiver. We'll take A.J. Brown all day.
So let me ask you this: who gets paid more? Okay, this is going to be a two-part question.
Okay.
Who gets paid more, and who would you rather sign? Not necessarily for the Giants, but say you were a GM, Tony Pollard or Miles Sanders.
I'd probably go Tony Pollard by a hair. I mean, the crazy part is Tony Pollard had a little bit of injury issues too, and Miles Sanders has had injury issues throughout his whole career. Not like devastating season-ending injuries, but he's usually banged up throughout the year, which a lot of running backs are, to be honest. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the Eagles are going to have some trouble here in a couple of years. I'll tell you that. But they opened up this window to try to make a Super Bowl run, and that's exactly what they're about to try to do.
What did the Dallas Cowboys aren't going to be able to afford Tony Pollard, right?
It depends what they do with Zeke. Tony Pollard's a free agent coming up this year too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Him and Miles Sanders are both free agents.
Yeah.
So like, what does Dallas do? What does Philadelphia do?
I think if you're Philly, you're going to find a way to bring back Miles Sanders. And if you're Miles Sanders, take the deal that makes sense, because Philadelphia is going to put you in the best position to win a Super Bowl and keep your career going the way it should. The trajectory will remain the same.
Yeah.
Interesting. But and on the Eagles' defensive side of the ball, they got so many players. I mean, they got so many ballers. When I looked up these sack statistics, I was just floored by it, because they have Hassan Reddick has 16 sacks on a year, and then they have 3 players that have 11 sacks. That's ridiculous. They have Javon Hargrave, Brandon Graham, and Josh Sweat. They all have 11 sacks on the year. And then you got Fletcher Cox, who's got 7. This is
They're
one
stacked.
As far as
They're
going
stacked.
to pass rushing the quarterback, this is one of the best fronts in the league. But they do struggle to stop the run, it seems like. They were banged up in the middle of the year, obviously, and that did hurt them a little bit. But they got players up there on that front and off that edge. Hassan Reddick, I love those conversations with Micah Parsons, because everyone's talking about Micah Parsons being this generational talent and whatnot. And a guy like Hassan Reddick has been overlooked and leads the Philadelphia Eagles right now with the 16 sacks on the year. Now, with the Giants, when you look at these numbers, they're just so different, because Dexter Lawrence leads the Giants right now in sacks with 7.5. Like, Fletcher Cox is 5th on that team with 7. It's kind of ridiculous when you look at it. And Azeez Ojulari has 5.5, but Azeez Ojulari also has 3 forced fumbles on the year. Kayvon's got 4. Jihad Ward has 3. Leonard Williams has 2.5. Leonard Williams, they really got to revisit that and figure out what's going on with Leonard Williams. I ain't here to count nobody's pockets, but the dude's making a lot of money and has been banged up. Productivity hasn't been the same. Maybe they're using him to open up things for the other guys, though, because when Kayvon Thibodeau got that hit on Nick Foles last week, it was like 3 people that was about to get the hit if it wasn't for Kayvon. If Kayvon didn't get there first, you had McLeod that was going to get there. If McLeod didn't get there, McFadden was going to get there, and then maybe Leonard Williams. Who knows? Like, maybe this is just opening things up, and they're using Leonard Williams kind of as a piece to open things up. We'll see. But these numbers, as far as the quarterback sacks go, for the Eagles they're ridiculous in comparison to the Giants. Now, Jihad Ward and Dexter Lawrence, they each have 7 tackles for a loss on the season. So I know a lot of people sleeping on Jihad Ward, but I think Jihad Ward has had a really good year, good solid year, and also definitely been a locker room presence, man. Like, you saw when they dunked the Gatorade, it was Jihad Ward and Julian Love. Julian Love, like, hey, wait for this play to end. Wait for this play to end. They splashed Brian Dable with the Gatorade. Such a great moment. And then you see Brian Dable dap up Wink Martindale. And I was ecstatic to see that, because Wink Martindale, he's the quiet guy. When he speaks, those quotes last forever. He's got like 8 quotables this season, man. This dude just says the perfect stuff during these press conferences, while Mike Kafka's really not saying too much, not showing the cards. Same thing with Brian Dable, not showing the cards really. So I love to see when Brian Dable dapped him up when they clinched the playoffs. It was a great moment for the New York Giants. But as far as this game goes, a lot of things are, up in the air. It's up in the air right now. We don't know what both teams are going to do as far as starters. I kind of want to get your opinion on it. What do you think about this? If you were Coach Brian Dable, would you rest some of your starters versus the Eagles, or would you go out there and try to win this game a la Tom Coughlin 2007? Figure out who the Eagles really are, so when you maybe see them later on down the line, you're kind of prepared to raise the level of play there and be able to, try to beat them in the playoffs if it so comes down to that.
I'm so split on this. because I understand the argument for both. Like, this would be the question that I would want to ask a player. Like, what do you think a player thinks? Like, not necessarily what a coach thinks.
You tell me. You playing ball, right? It's the season. You clinched. Playoffs are coming in next week. You got to go up against Damascus in the final week of the season. What do you want to do?
I mean, you know me. I'm a competitor. I want to play. Yeah,
every player's going to want to play. Yeah.
But, like, I understand.
Especially the quarterback. You want to pad them stats a little bit, too.
And I mean, especially I would imagine NFL players too, because I'm sure a lot of them are like borderline on their incentive parts of their contract, you know, like play X amount of snaps and get this X amount of yards and stuff like that. So I'm sure that plays a role in it. It makes sense to me to rest your starters, right? Because of risk of injury. But it's just like, even if you play them a series, they still can have a possibility of getting hurt on a series, right? But then they've been playing for 17 weeks already. Like,
Exactly.
I mean, to me,
I see one in the chat I want to respond to, too. And I saw that Carl Banks said this exact same thing on his Believe podcast with Bob Papa. You know, their slogan is tell a friend to tell a friend. So definitely y'all go over there and subscribe to BLEAV if you haven't. It's a great podcast. Carl Banks doing his thing. And Carl Banks is just a good dude. Sent me a bunch of stuff here, man. A bunch of Giants memorabilia, some signed stuff. Go show some love if you're not supporting their podcast. Go ahead and hold them down. But Deedon, I believe that's how we say it, says, yes, we put Adoree in a bad position, and this game would be doing the same. Rest them. Now, I'll leave this person nameless, but I saw his response to it on Twitter, and I thought he said this pretty brilliantly and pretty perfect. He said, we're not putting these players at a different position. We're asking them to go out there and do the job that they've been doing already for 17 weeks this season. So putting Adoree Jackson at punt returner was just flat out stupid. Let's just call it what it was, right? Just because Richie James fumbled 2 punts, it shouldn't have been a reason for them to go and take our number 1 corner and put him at punt return. And it's not like he was some great punt returner when he was in Tennessee anyway. So to me, that was just like, that's like taking Daniel Jones and putting him at running back when Saquon Barkley goes down. Like, why? Why? We have backup running backs for a reason. You didn't have somebody off the streets or somebody on the practice squad that's been catching and returning punts. You saw it with Kansas City. They brought in Kadarius Toney. He started returning punts. I know he fumbled one too just a couple of weeks ago, right? But he was the backup, and they brought him in to do that. I don't think you should take somebody who's playing a position like number 1 cornerback and try to move them to a punt return. That's obviously not smart. But here, playing the players, the risk is that they lose their momentum. That's the thing that I think you got to watch out for. This pass attack for the past 2 to 3 weeks has looked completely different. Why not go out there and get the reps that you could go out there and kind of improve on this thing that's just new from the past couple of weeks that Mike Kafka has just instilled in this offense? And I'm going to stick to what I said on the show on Tuesday. I think you start everybody. Put them out there for a couple of snaps. Treat this like a preseason finale. See how it goes in the second quarter. If it's a tight game, make the decision on the fly if you want to try to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. This could come back to haunt us. Who knows? You beat the Eagles, everything goes the Cowboys' way, and you end up playing the Eagles earlier than you want to play them, and then they end up dog-walking you with Jalen Hurts. That could be an issue too. But I do think you should go out there and treat this like a real regular season game. The Beard, you said this about your team. You want to go out there and win the games.
Yeah.
Brian Davis said this isn't just about a playoff game. This is about every week to week. How can we improve? I think you can improve if you're the New York Giants by going out there and playing the players for at least, at bare minimum, a quarter, play the starters.
And this is the thing, too, is from a coaching standpoint, this is a lose-lose situation, to the fans, basically. Yeah. If you play your starters and when somebody gets hurt, you'll never hear the end of it, right? But if you don't play the starters and then you come in your first playoff game and you look flat, it's going to be, well, they should have played the starters in the last game. Now that they're flat, they're not. There's always going to be something. But I think the concept I think that we talked about last episode and you just touched on just now is the smart one for me. I think it makes sense to go at it like it's a real game, and if things are going one way or another, maybe you pull the starters. Whether you're dog walking them or they're dog walking you, one of those sort of situations.
I can almost guarantee that that's not going to happen again, though. What we saw in that first Eagles matchup, That's not going to happen again. And I just want to send a quick little shout out to the homie one time, man. Sandman, fly, Eagles, fly. I love what you're saying right here, first of all. And we talked about how there was a lack of representation from the Philadelphia Eagles fans here in the building. So big shout out to you, man. I haven't seen you pull up in any of our streams. Appreciate those positive vibes going up against the Vikings. That's major right there coming from a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And welcome to the fam, bro. We appreciate you pulling up and rocking with us in the chat today, man. Salute to you, fam.
Yeah, do you think any of it has to do with if Hurts comes out and plays?
Well, let's get to that one here real quick. All right, we'll talk about Jalen Hurts here. You know, graphics department
almost,
had the questions
like
dialed up one time.
It's almost like we read each other's minds.
Is it more important for the Eagles to clinch the number 1 seed or to rest Jalen Hurts and make sure he is 100% healthy as they go into the playoffs? You got to answer this one first. I've been helping you out, coming in with the cheat sheet here. Kind of.
Is it more important for the Eagles to clinch the number 1 seed? If Jalen Hurts can play, you play Jalen Hurts.
Can play. That's what I'm saying. Like, do you put him out there if he's not 100% in with the reward of trying to get the number 1 seed?
If he's
or do you make sure he's healthy? Because you're in the playoffs.
If he's 80%, you play him.
80%.
If he says he can play and the doctors give him a clearance of 80%, I play him. Now, if he says that he can play, but the doctors are like, I don't know, man, if he gets hit the wrong way, he might miss a couple of games, then you can't play him as much as he wants to play.
We know an injury like this. You remember when the Giants did this with Daniel Jones? He sprained the ankle, and they put him in the game, and then he came in there and he messed up, got hurt for more games. I think that the risk of that happening for the Eagles is so much higher than any risk of what's happening with the New York Giants side of the ball. I like the number you kind of got it around 80%. I'm not going off the player at all on this, though. I don't care what Jalen Hurts said he could play last week. I'm not going by his word. I'm going to test him out. I'm going to see how he looks in practice. If I see one of them old man when he throw the ball, dog, you're not playing this week. We're going to need you for this playoff stretch, whether it be one more game that you got to add to that, that stretch to get to the Super Bowl. I think the Eagles are more than capable of doing that. And who knows, maybe it presents a little bit more, you don't got to worry about that rust thing, man, because if Jalen Hurts goes out here and plays hurt, the one benefit I think that he does have to that is he would have a good 2 weeks to rest. It'd be a solid 2 weeks to rest before they got, if they won. Because if you go out there and you play and he gets hurt and you lose, double whammy right there.
To me, it's a very difficult situation too. And you see how the NFL did nobody any favors by putting both of these games at 4:25.
Yeah.
So like, it's not like you can watch the Dallas game at 1:00 and be like, okay, no, we're just going to chill. Dallas lost to the Commanders.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? So they set it up.
Do you scoreboard watch? Do you scoreboard watch a little bit? You see one of these teams go down and you got that seed, you just go, hey, Hurts, come on.
Yeah.
Come on the game.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Like if you look up at the Lincoln Field, it's Lincoln Field, right? Lincoln Financial. You look up and you see Sam Howell just threw his 3rd touchdown against the Dallas Cowboys. Commanders are up 21-0.
Right. Yeah, come here, Hurts. We're going to put you on that sideline, cuz. I like that. Let my Giants get to 10 wins. Easy.
Yeah, it's it's tomato, it's tomato at this point. Like, I can understand both sides from of the table from both teams, whether you rest your players and rest your starters. I think the smart thing to do here would be to take a page from Awthentic's book and say this. I trusted my coaching staff to make the decision that is best for the team.
There you go.
So, if Dable decides to rest the starters, I'm going to believe that that's the right decision because that's my head coach. He's gotten us to this point in the season when nobody thought we could get here. If I'm Nick Sirianni, and I'm an Eagles fan, I have faith in Nick Sirianni to make the decision that he needs to make. I have faith in Jalen Hurts as a leader of my team, the face of my franchise, to do what's right, whether it's to rest or to play. That's the only thing we can do.
It's an elaborate way to take the push.
Yeah, everything else is hypotheticals and theories and risk. Let's just sit back and root for whoever's on the field and worry about the playoffs when the playoffs come. But I will tell you that this is a more of an intriguing situation for the Philadelphia Eagles than I've seen before because it's not like you're just the drastic change of seeding, it going from a number 1 seed, home field advantage, and a bye week to going all the way down, possibly to having to play a road game in the first round of the playoffs. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's not like just a bye week but you still get a home game sort of situation. Like if they
so
lose,
they would fall to the 5 seed, right? And that would put them up against the
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right?
Oh, I mean, that's not too bad. That's right.
In Tampa.
And that might be a good little warm-up game. Man, that's a get-right game maybe for the Philadelphia Eagles, if you ask me.
I know you feel that way, but I'm just saying it's a bit of and you know I would pick the Eagles to win that game.
Yeah.
But in the back of everybody's mind, I don't care what nobody says. No matter how bad they've looked this year, Tom Brady in the playoffs, 99% of the time, you don't want it.
I mean, you know who I rep, bro. We ain't scared of no Tom.
Y'all are the exception to the rule, man.
Eli's Tom's dad. The Giants are the kryptonite to Superman, Tom Brady. We do this, man. We used to this.
Oh man, can you imagine a New York Giants, Tom Brady NFC Championship?
I saw somebody, I don't know if it was Sandman, but he was saying that the matchup in the championship with the Giants and the Eagles is going to be lit. It might have been. I don't even think it was Sandman. Actually, I think it was Steven Arce. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
There's a lot of good storylines and potential matchups in the NFC playoffs, man. There's some
Sandman
blue blood.
Hurts lost 1 game all year to your Commanders. I know you're happy about that. They getting the number 1 seed.
I'd rather have the playoffs than a win against the Eagles.
I feel you. Yeah, that Monday night win was.
But I'll settle for a win against the Dallas Cowboys.
Both of those are consolation prizes, right? That's what they're called.
Yeah, we don't
Bob
do those
Barker,
blue
the price
ribbons
is
here.
wrong. When he stole the shit out of
Cool.
All right, well, with this game, I want to go over some of these keys to victory, regardless of starters or not. You know, I think the Giants' backups can come in here and do some damage. And even if they start some of these backups, I think, to just be Tyrod Taylor with a makeshift of some starters on that offensive line. Hopefully we get to see a little bit of Kenny Galladay and maybe his Giants finale, possibly. I mean, he's probably going to be cut here come, about March, right before this draft. But for me, these are the keys to victory for me for the New York Giants one time. And let me flip this bidag one time. First and foremost, man, the Giants got to get off to a fast start. Struggled with the Eagles against that last time. That's not the vibes against the Eagles. You let them get out to that 24-3 lead, 24-7 lead. They're going to just chill in the second half and coast to victory. High fives, Batman costumes, all of that stuff. James Brown capes. We've been seeing so much crazy stuff from the Philadelphia Eagles this year, man. They've been having a whole damn ball over there. Secondly, I think you're going to have to control the clock. I mean, the teams that have seen success against the Philadelphia Eagles, your Commanders included, and the New Orleans Saints this past week, a lot of it was about controlling the clock, winning time of possession. I think that's going to be the number 2 key to victory for the Giants here. Try to find a way to sustain these drives, man. Even if you got Tyrod Taylor out there, utilize this short passing attack. Catch the damn ball. Don't be out here dropping the ball on 3rd down. Sustain these drives. Keep the quarterback, whether it be Gardner Minshew or Jalen Hurts, on the sideline. And I talked about this a little earlier. You got to stop the run, man. They got to find a way to stop the run here. I don't want to see the Philadelphia Eagles just running up and down the field on us. And our defense really, probably their worst game of the season came against the Philadelphia Eagles in that last matchup. I mean, just a straight-up blowout. That game was never close. It was one of those games where I'm glad I prepared myself for it, and I knew that the Giants were not going to win that game, especially with the way that the timing was in that game. The Giants weren't ready for that matchup. Fourth, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts. Go ahead.
Breaking news. The NFL has announced that the Week 17 Buffalo Bills at Cincinnati Bengals game will not be resumed and has been canceled.
That's smart. I mean, like when we talk about logic, remember when we were talking about them rumors off air? That's the logical thing to do. So big shout out to the NFL for doing the right thing. You don't want to mess with the seeding. Just eliminate that game. That's a smart vibe. But fourth for the New York Giants, and I think for the Philadelphia Eagles too. Both teams, if you want to win this, don't turn the ball over. We're talking about 2 of the best quarterbacks when we're talking about turnovers and not turning the ball over in the NFL, Jalen Hurts and your boy Daniel Jones. But here's the thing, Tyrod Taylor, not so much, man. Every time he's got in, it's been a fumble, interception, injury. I don't know, man. Tyrod, if you play this week, bro, make sure you take care of that ball. And lastly, the Giants got to capitalize in that damn red zone. Do what you've been doing all year long. The Giants right now are ranked 7th as far as red zone efficiency goes. They're converting on 63% of their red zone attempts. So do the damn job. Get to the red zone. We know attempts, the Giants were in the bottom half of the league. But when you get down there, find a way to convert, score, put up some touchdowns on the board. And I think the Giants got a chance to win this game, whether it be Jalen Hurts at quarterback or whether it be, Gardner Minshew, Tyrod Taylor. We're hoping to get a lopsided matchup. Maybe we get Brian Dable said he was going to start the starters. I'd love to see my man Daniel Jones going up against Gardner Minshew because I was high on Gardner Minshew as a backup coming into this season. I think the game has changed on Gardner Minshew just a little bit. Those kind of quarterbacks, they're not seeing the same kind of success they was once seeing. And I think Gardner Minshew is a backup for a reason. I told you I think your boy Taylor Heineke might be a little better than him.
Not a chance. Listen, I think the Giants definitely have a chance and an opportunity to win this game, and I think that can be happen with Jalen Hurts or without Jalen Hurts, as you expressed yourself. I think the Giants have the ability to do the things that the Eagles' weaknesses are. It's just a matter of the Giants being able to execute. Obviously, I thought it was really interesting because the Giants aren't too far off from a lot of major statistical categories from the Philadelphia Eagles. The big difference is the amount of points that are scored per game, obviously, and that's a big impact in winning and losing football games. The Eagles score 28.4 per game, and the Giants are at 21.8. But they both allow the same amount of points around. The Giants, which is really weird because the Giants allow, and they average the same amount of points that they allow, 21.8. Which is crazy to allow and score the
exactly the same. That's
exact
crazy.
Same 21.8.
Still no teams are scoring over 30 points per game this year. I thought that's kind of interesting. You would think that the Eagles or maybe the Lions have put up so many 30-plus point games this year. You would think, right?
That one game was the 0 points against the Patriots really messes up an average. And I think
6
that
against the Cowboys.
I think that obviously too, the last 2 games for the Giants and the last 2 games for the Eagles have kind of evened out some of these averages. Philadelphia gives up 20.5 points a game, and the Giants give up 21.8. They both rush for almost the exact same amount of yards per game. Giants run for 149.4. Eagles run for 148.4. They both allow kind of around the same as far as passing yards allowed. 230. The Giants give up 211. The Eagles give up. Obviously, the Eagles pass for more yards than the Giants, about 50 more a game. And then the rushing yards allowed is where the Giants falter. They give up 144, where the Eagles only give up 121. But still, we're talking about 20 yards,
very close.
20 to 50 yard differences on those categories where they're not like dead even. So to me, obviously it's just a matter of executing. And I think that, the Eagles, albeit without Jalen Hurts, are, if you had to put it on a down and up, I mean, the Eagles are down. They've lost 2 games in a row. The Giants, on the other hand, are winning on a win streak here. So I think it's not unreasonable to think that the Giants can win this game no matter who comes out and plays. Obviously, there's so many wild cards here. Is Jalen Hurts going to play? The Giants going to play their starters? How much is this guy going to play? And blah, 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 blah. But to me, 14 points seems outrageous. I guess
it's kind of crazy.
I guess it's, it is in Philadelphia. Philadelphia did beat the Giants by a lot of points the last time, but I think the Giants are playing they're probably close to, if not their best football of the season all around, especially considering, some of the injuries that they've been dealing with as of recent. So I think I'm going to let you pick a winner first. I can't do it.
You want to know what's crazy? It's like I haven't even really thought about it.
It's so weird. It's the weirdest game to pick a winner.
Like, you just don't know who's going to start.
You just don't know. There's too many unknowns here.
But I'm going to just go off the momentum, man. I think the Giants right now, of all teams in the NFC East, they're striding the most, man. And I think that momentum will carry us. I don't see a matchup where one team has the backups and another team doesn't. Now, the Eagles are probably going to come out and play most of their starters, but it's really about Jalen Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
If we see Jalen Hurts, I think we're going to see Daniel Jones. And in that case, the matchup is going to be extremely close. I'm going to take the Giants in a close one, man. We owe them. They put the Giants on notice and really blew the socks off us in that first matchup. I think it'll be a great test going into the playoffs, knowing that you're locked into the number 6 seed here. You got a chance to just prepare and get ready for the Eagles. It might be very similar. And you know me, I don't like saying this whole history repeats itself stuff, but I think that this game's going to be similar to that Patriots matchup in 2007 with the Giants, where it's going to come down to like a very close game. Except I think the Giants might take this one. I'm going to take the Giants in this one to win it. I'm going to say 27-24 New York.
If Jalen Hurts plays, I think the Eagles win 21-17. If Jalen Hurts doesn't play, I think the Giants win 21-20.
All right,
and
so we're going to need a final pick, though, because you see
you're going to have to tune in Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I did forget this, and I'm glad that LaMamba James reminded me. They did say that Dable will be making the announcement on Friday.
So you're going to wait till the announcement to make your prediction here?
I mean, I gave you one of each.
You've been taking a lot of pushes today, man.
Hey, man, listen, that's what happens when you're on the outside looking in.
I feel you. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense.
You know? Listen, once we get through this week.
We pushed y'all asses out the playoffs. That's what happened.
So I pushed my
That's what we did. Shout out to Sean G for this update right here. I did see this on my Twitter just now. So the AFC playoff bracket pretty much means if Buffalo and Cincinnati were to get to that AFC championship game, it's going to be at a neutral site, you know. So I saw somebody say London might be a good place for that. That might be kind of dope. We'll see where that game is held at. But I think that's probably the only fair way to handle this situation. It's good to see the NFL really handling this the right way, man, because too many times, too often, you see this be like unfair for one team and unfair for a certain squad or whatever. And this seems to be the most fair way to do it. When I first saw this on Monday night with the Demar Hamlin injury and then see that they were canceling the game at the time, there's no place to fit this game in to reschedule it. And I thought it would have been a little bit unfair to give the win to the Cincinnati Bengals because they were winning by 4 points in the first quarter. I think there was only 3 or 4 drives that had been had in that game before they had to cancel it. So great job by the NFL, man. I usually don't send a lot of kudos to Roger Goodell, but he's done a good job on this one, you know. And a lot of people have been saying the NFL is a reactionary type league. This is very proactive for them to go out there and do this.
It is, and it was not an easy situation. I mean, so many variables and so many things you have to put into consideration. So the fact that they were able to come up with a solution that works in everybody's favor, I think is so that's a pretty hard thing to do, and I think they've done a good job here with that.
Yeah,
and big shout out to Paulie, who is continuing on with this trend that Awthentik created last show, and he has retweeted our show on Twitter and says, "I've had enough of Beard's personal decisions and opinions. Hashtag Wentz."
Hey, Paulie said the streets need a body. They might be coming for you, bro.
I was gonna say.
I know that's right. All right, now look. I have one other little segment prepared before we get off on the trivia, on the last trivia section that we're going to do here. I got one other segment prepared, right? But there are some stipulations and some rules here. I will only present this segment if you do not take the push. You have to have an answer that is either one way or the other for this. No pushes, no political stuff here. And speaking of the politics, I heard that they're stuck on that vote for like 2 days for the House. What's going on? What's going on? We don't do politics here, but do you agree or do you not agree? I'll skip it if you don't.
Let me consult.
Look, you trying to look at the graphics.
Let me consult.
You got 5 seconds to make your answer.
I'm going to consult with my team.
4,
Can I get 10? All right,
3,
let's do it. No pushes.
All right, you need to go scroll down to the graphics. Like, let me see.
I wasn't going to scroll down to the graphics. I wasn't.
All right, so this is it right here, okay? So this morning on Keyshawn Will and what's my man, Max Kellerman, on their show, Max Kellerman talked about the tiers, and we've been talking about this a lot on this show about the quarterback tiers, right? And he says he's been doing a hierarchy of the tiers throughout the year. And the way that he's been doing it is it's about the way that these quarterbacks have played in the last couple of weeks and also what they've done on the season and their careers leading up to it. But it's a more of a what have you been doing for me lately type of thing, right? And I hope they don't demonetize us for this, but I don't care. I did screen grab this from ESPN. This is his tier entering week 18. He's got tier 1, Patrick Mahomes. Tier 2, Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. Tier 3, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and Daniel Jones. Now, I want to know if you agree with this tier or the way that this pyramid has been constructed here. And I like the way that he did this because he said tier 1 should always be one quarterback. There should be 2 quarterbacks in tier 2 and 3 quarterbacks in tier 3. I love that. And I'm going to take that actually moving on from here forward. I love the way that they designed this pyramid. And Keyshawn was saying that he thought, like, first of all, he brought up a stat that said if a quarterback throws under 30 attempts in a game and he can throw for somewhere in that 225 to 250-yard range and not turn the ball over, it's more than likely he's going to win the game. So he really throws the stats out the window when he looks at the statistics of Daniel Jones. He just wants to look at him at the way he's been playing. These are Daniel Jones' stats entering this week 18. Total QBR, he's ranked 9th, 60.4 on the season out of 100. Completion percentage, 67%. He's 8th in the NFL. Passing yards, he's 15th. Passing touchdowns, he's 19th with 15. He's got the second fewest interceptions in the entire league right now with just 5 interceptions, which is tied with Jalen Hurts, okay? So my question, going back to the tiers right here from Max Quarterbacks tiers, do you agree with it? And if you don't, how would you rearrange this? And if some of these quarterbacks, I'd say tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 have a lot of the quarterbacks that we would put in there. I would say Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes are locks. If you were to replace some of these other quarterbacks, who would you replace? And if you need me to bring the graphic back up when we're done, we'll bring it back up. But what's your thoughts on that?
Listen, I have been a Daniel Jones believer to a certain extent and supporter well before this year. Even in his down year, when you asked me last year, you said, is Daniel Jones playing winning football right now? I said, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it led to
how many wins did we have last season?
4. 2, 3, yeah, exactly.
Right.
But
he was wrong back then, but I get
that.
Listen, yeah.
But I can't put Daniel Jones up there. I can't. I think he's close. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh my God, this is outrageous. This is just not even close. I think he's teetering, and I think you have to consider some of the game atmospheres. I think you have to consider what he's done on the ground. I think he's close, but I would personally swap him out. I kind of like that whole 1, 2, 3 thing, but
it's amazing.
It forces your hand a little too much.
Right.
And
I love it.
A guy like me.
Do. We're not taking no political
exactly,
push. That's why I told you. I'm like, you cannot take the push on this.
I would replace him with Trevor Lawrence. Maybe
that's
Jared
crazy
Goff.
That you just froze up literally like right when you were about to say who you'd replace him with.
Okay, I would replace him with Trevor Lawrence and maybe even Jared Goff.
Jeff agrees with you. I don't know if you was looking at the chat when you said
that.
I
wasn't.
So are your tiers exactly the same, though? Patrick Mahomes in 1, Jalen Hurts and Joe Burrow in 2. You got Josh Allen in tier 3?
Well, if we have to stick by the 1, 2, and 3s.
Yeah. Right. I'm making it very clear for you.
Okay, so maybe I would. All right, so this is what I would do then. I would put. Can you bring the graphic back up?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, because this is tough.
You
have to do it this way.
I got it. I got it for you.
I would put Patrick Mahomes at 1. Tier 2. Nah, you know what? I tier 2. I leave Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts. Tier 3. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I like how you put Trevor Lawrence in there because we have, they were talking about how this is like, it's leaning on what have you done for me lately as well.
That's the big
right?
thing
That's
for me.
important now. For me, I'm going to switch it up for you a little bit. Tier 1 is definitely Patrick Mahomes. Tier 2, for me, Jalen Hurts is not tier 2 if you got to force the pyramid like that. I got to put Josh Allen in tier 2. I'm going to go Josh Allen. This is so tough right here. This part right here. I'm going to say it, though. Joe Burrow's not in tier 2 for me. I'm really thinking about it right now. It's Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts for me in tier 2. Tier 3, I got Joe Burrow, who is right there banging on the ceiling to get into tier 2. He's in tier 3 leading them. Justin Herbert. And it's going to sound crazy, but I got to represent for the OGs, bro. I'm going Aaron Rodgers, bro.
I thought about it. I 100% did.
Yeah.
I 100% did.
Because lately he just been balling out. And I know their defense has played a lot better as well, but like he just been playing high-level football. Jared Goff has played some good football, but there's a part of it to me that goes, can he sustain that?
See, to me, the Trevor Lawrence and Aaron Rodgers thing is very similar because I look at what because that was a name that I debated too. I look at what they've done over the last 6 weeks, where their teams were and where their teams are now, and what they've done during that stretch to get their teams to where they are. The reason why I went with Trevor Lawrence over Aaron Rodgers is because I feel like Trevor Lawrence has done more, statistically speaking, during that stretch of games to get his team into the position that they're in right now than any other quarterback has. Because Trevor Lawrence's
on
last
the year 24-8 as far as touchdown interceptions. He's got 3,900 yards. What about Geno Smith? Geno Smith already cracked 4,000, and he's got 29 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
But he fell off. That goes into the what have you done for me lately? Geno hasn't done anything for me lately.
What was the performance the week before last against the Rams, right? Had that great comeback victory. And then last week they lost, right? No, they won last week too.
They won.
Yeah, they won last week too. The only other quarterbacks I'd consider are Geno Smith, Daniel Jones. I don't think I'm considering Tua. Aaron Rodgers for me. It's wild. If Dak Prescott was playing his normal type of football, he'd be easy to put in that tier 3 right now. But he's been slumming. The interception's been a problem.
And Geno's last 6 games aren't bad either.
Yeah. It's like, the thing is with Geno is I think a little bit of the history, it somehow influences our opinion a little bit because, this is what have you done for me lately, but it's not just what have you done for me lately. Geno Smith has had an incredible year. Incredible. His completion percentage, he's still one of the only, I think he's the only quarterback in the NFL with a completion percentage over 70 right now.
Yeah. It's tough. That's tough because I mean, Geno, that's what there's a lot of quarterbacks to make their case, but to me, it's just, and you know what? I debated taking Herbert out too.
Yeah, I feel you on that, but Herbert right now is 3rd in the NFL in passing yards. He's got 23 touchdowns on the year, 10 interceptions. Jared Goff too, if you want to think about him, 4,214 yards. 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So just statistically speaking, Jared Goff has better numbers than Geno Smith just by a little bit, but the completion percentage, Jared Goff has about 150 more passing yards than Geno Smith, but the completion percentage is higher for Geno, and Geno Smith has 2 more interceptions. Other than that, they have identical numbers. Their quarterback ratings on the year, Geno Smith is 102.9 and Jared Goff is 100.1.
Joe Burrow, 34 touchdowns.
Yeah, 12 interceptions. He's balling.
But how many of those and the crazy thing is 4 of those interceptions came in the first game of the season.
Totally. But that's why I said Joe Burrow for me is banging. He's in the 3rd tier, banging on tier 2 because you got to take out Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts. And you said you would take out Josh Allen in tier 2. There's no way after what Josh Allen did last year and going into this season as the what have you done for me lately, can I take him out of tier 2?
Yeah,
because right now, if I start my franchise, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes first, and then I'm taking Josh Allen, and then I'm going to probably go Justin Herbert, then Jalen Hurts possibly, and the rest of these guys.
For me, I won't put none of what my tiers right now have anything to do with. That's the big difference, I guess, between me and Max and maybe even you, is that I put nothing in from last year into this my consideration of my tiers. It's
so then why not Jared Goff and Geno Smith?
I mean, they were there for me. Jared Goff was there for me more so than Geno Smith because of, once again, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, and Aaron Rodgers.
Boy in the building.
Lamar is ineligible.
Why is he ineligible? Just because he's hurt
because
now?
He hasn't played for 6 weeks.
Nah. Now listen. What have you done? You said this when we were talking on our last podcast. You were like talking about that whole "what have you done for me lately" thing with Taylor Heineke, and you looked at it like, "Oh, he sucked against San Francisco." For me, what have you done for me lately isn't just necessarily the past week. Now I understand Daniel Jones has played 2 of his best games of the season the past 2 weeks, but I don't think that this removes Lamar from the list. I'm glad Bates Boy brought this up because really we could really just remove Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, and all of them. If we talking throughout the season, I'm going to put Lamar Jackson in tier 3 100%. And I'm not going to have Aaron Rodgers in there.
But right now, I can't put a guy who hasn't played 6 weeks in this chart. He's NA. He's not applicable. He's not eligible. Applicable, yeah. Yeah, because listen, to me, Lamar Jackson's a top 5 in the league. I can't put him on that. I can't put him on a tier list if he's not playing.
I can't do that. That could kind of mean you take Jalen Hurts off, bro.
But Jalen Hurts hasn't played for 2 weeks. Let me use your own logic against you. Okay, and I'll rebuttal that. Jalen Hurts hasn't played for 2 weeks. That's different than 6 weeks. And Jalen Hurts was at an MVP, still an MVP. Lamar Jackson is not in the MVP consideration right now. He's not even in the conversation. So that's the difference. That's the difference between that.
But still, what have you done for me lately? 2 weeks of not playing football? I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah,
how can we have him in the tier? He hasn't played in 2 weeks because you say Lamar.
He's MVP. So you get 2 games off for MVP.
Like that's a guarantee.
I mean, to me right now, all right, if I had to give you what's your MVP rankings right now?
Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts. Daniel Jones, 3rd. You like that, right? Yo, my man Carly from the show on FS1, he made a case because he said, if you're talking about most valuable player to their team, Daniel Jones brings a ton of value to the Giants.
Okay, let me ask you this then. If you had to give an MVP vote between Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, who are you giving your vote to?
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna cut the vote in half and give it half.
Come on, man. Nah, you sound like the Beard. You gotta choose one.
I can.
Daniel Jones or Saquon Barkley.
I can take an occasional push. You take a push damn near every topic.
I don't never take a push.
Take an occasional push.
I just take an extended answer. I don't never take a push. I give you both. I give you both sides of the story.
You see Kevin the Beard.
Applicable. That's what we like to call a beardism. Okay, because to me, I put Jalen Hurts is still my MVP vote right now. Joe Burrow is number 2, getting damn close to number 1, and Patrick Mahomes is number 3.
You got Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes on your MVP list?
100%.
Dog, okay, we done. Let's go to trivia. Bro.
Why not?
That's weapons. Most valuable player. Do you see who Patrick Mahomes is throwing the ball to? He's throwing the ball to MVS.
Okay, listen.
Talking about. You know when we were talking about the two. The only other duo that has 1K, being the Miami Dolphins. The only other one that's gonna get it when Week 18 is done is the Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins already breached 1,000 yards. Jamar Chase is at 900 something. He's going to get there.
But you got to remember, Jamar Chase was out for what, 6 weeks?
I don't know how many weeks he was out for. He's a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Don't matter.
I understand that, but you're saying like the weapons they're throwing to. When Jamar Chase got hurt, Joe Burrow stepped
in the
up.
backfield. Yo,
I mean, listen,
Patrick
Mahomes has Travis Kelce.
Patrick, that's one weapon. And then what? Go
I mean,
start
then
naming them. T. Higgins could be a number one on any other team right now. Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, that's 3 weapons. You just said Travis Kelce, who, is a great tight end. He's the only one tight end in the whole entire NFL that has 1,000 yards. But that's one weapon.
But Patrick Mahomes is a unicorn, right?
Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes.
But listen, to me, Joe Burrow is right there with Patrick Mahomes.
Yo, Patrick Mahomes has 40 touchdowns on the year, bro.
And Justin Herbert,
Joe
Burrow's got 34.
Interceptions. The same amount of interceptions as Joe Burrow. And
Joe Burrow's got 34.
He has 800 more yards than Joe Burrow, bro.
But I'm looking at some of the wins, though. The wins and the losses.
Oh, wins and losses is a quarterback stat for you now.
Not quarterback stats, an MVP
Did you know for
stat.
me, it is a quarterback stat. I say that all day, and I stand on that.
Listen,
but you, on the other hand, you don't be saying that.
I had Mahomes at 2 for a majority of the season, but right now I got Joe Burrow at number 2, man.
Yo, Stephen R. said Mahomes is throwing to Tony, the best wide receiver in the league. Dog, he got 800 more yards than him.
He's got Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy.
Okay. Oh, so do we notch down Daniel Jones more because he's got Brian Dable now?
I mean, we're talking about MVP now. But so wait, so so you have Mahomes at 1 for MVP right now?
1,000%.
And then who's behind him?
Jalen Hurts.
And then who's behind him?
Maybe Joe Burrow.
Okay. So we have the same
I told you it's Daniel Jones. It's Daniel Jones.
We have the same 3. We have the same 3 guys, just in different
but you
order.
got the number 1 guy at the bottom.
I do.
You know why though? It's the Peter Parker thing, bro. We know Mahomes is the greatest quarterback in the damn league, right?
100%.
So what does it do for you?
We hold him to a higher standard.
It's almost like when Jay-Z dropped Kingdom Come, people was like, oh, it's a trash album. No, you're just not listening. And Jay-Z's record catalog is extremely high. Or when American Gangster came out, people were like, I'm not really feeling that American Gangster. You bozos, it's one of the best albums to come out from Jay-Z. But because he's so great, we notch him down.
Yeah, you held him to a different standard.
Patrick Mahomes is that guy right now, bro. You want me to tell you the yards?
I know. I have it right in front of my face.
Say it out loud.
He has 5,048.
He got 5,000 yards, bro. He's got 5,000 yards. He's joining that list of all greats and Jameis Winston.
He throws the ball a little bit more. And he's played 1 more game than Joe Burrow.
Okay. So he got 800 yards to have 1 game?
Nah, but you know what I'm saying?
You like that, right?
I mean, listen, they're very close. The yards is the biggest gap.
Yeah.
Completion
and the touchdowns
percentage
is a pretty big gap, but I'll give you maybe
6.
Joe Burrow could have got 2 more touchdowns, in that game against the Buffalo Bills. Maybe
Joe Burrow got a higher completion percentage.
Yo, Sean G said had to do Jameis Winston dirty. Hey, he up there. I ain't doing him dirty. I gave him his props if you think about it. Jameis Winston is probably the only not great quarterback that threw for 5,000 yards ever.
Man, didn't he throw for what was it? He led the league in touchdowns and interceptions in the same year, right?
I don't think he led the league in touchdowns, but he had 30. It was 33 and 33, I think it was. I know it was at least 30 and 30. And I like Jameis Winston, man. Jameis Winston, I think he had 14 touchdowns that year before he got hurt. 14 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He was on his way. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Jameis Winston. I still think he could be a decent quarterback in this league. It's unfortunate with him, the injuries that have happened to him.
I hated it, especially the one. This year sucked, but last year, that one was bad because I really felt like he had turned the corner, man.
Sebastian said 30 for 30. All right, so we're going to wrap this up real quick.
Yeah.
First of all, give me your MVP candidate hierarchy, and then give me your tiers. After all the information now that we put on the table, final answer. Shoot.
Okay, my number 1 MVP right now is Jalen Hurts. 2 is Joe Burrow. 3 is Patrick Mahomes.
The disrespect from this man.
And my tears,
He be knowing he's saying some foolish stuff. You see the face when you give him this right here. My MVP hierarchy is Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. The disrespect from this man. All right, give me your quarterback.
I mean, they're all very close. Man, it could go either way.
I wouldn't see them in the chat. They said it's not close.
Hey, listen.
Mahomes and him are not equal, says Vlad the Impaler. This is so blasphemous. Fly Eagles Fly said, this is so blasphemous. Omar said, the beard is just trolling. It's because in his heart, and that's why you put Trevor Lawrence in there. I've been saying this for 18 weeks straight. This guy is a Bengals fan, and he's a Jaguars fan. And he also wouldn't say that Taylor Heineke is better than Davis Mills because he's a Texans fan. He know what's good. All right, so I can hurry up and go eat some more dinner. So we got your hierarchy. This guy said Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. All right, give me the quarterback pyramid. I'll give you the chart one more time so you can see it one more time.
Okay, tier 1 is Joe Burrow. No. Tier 1, Patrick Mahomes. Tier 2, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. Tier 3, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence.
Okay. I'm going Patrick Mahomes in tier 1. And I'm thinking about the future a little bit when I do this as well. I'm going Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen in tier 2. And then I'm going Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, tier 3. Beard smoking that Wentz moon rocks with Mahomes at 3rd. Shout out to Stan in the building one time. Yeah, he know it too. Look at him. You can see it in his bloodshot eyes. He high off something right now. God. All right, let's cue up these jazz flutes one more time. We got another rookie card to give away. I wish I had another trivia question because we should do 2 trivia questions. You know what I'm saying? You got 2 more rookie cards over there, right?
We got another show coming up on Tuesday, Thursday,
and Sunday. Yep. Don't forget about Sunday. Sunday gonna be a vibe on a parlay one time. Damn, week 18, last week, and then we enter in the playoffs. All right. Let's cue up these jazz flutes one time. I swear, I got to get the trap version of the jazz flutes coming in soon. That'd be a whole damn vibe. I might work on that tonight one time. I cooked up a fire one yesterday, boy. That thing might be on the next project. I cooked up a fire one. All right, shout out to the gang, man. We appreciate y'all tolerating the Beard's trolling over there with the MVP conversation and the tiers. And shout out to Max Kellerman, Keyshawn Johnson, and Jay Will, man, one time for bringing that discussion to the table. I thought that was a great way to look at the hierarchy stuff. We've been talking about that for a while. I love that. Just one quarterback in the top tier. I think that's amazing. But you didn't have Joe Burrow in tier 1. Kind of weird, but kind of weird. Yeah, kind of weird. Okay, I see you, Sean G. Salute to you, fam. Salute to you, man. Y'all get y'all thinking caps ready one time, man. The Beard, for those that weren't here, can you just give them the rules one more time? Can you do it in that voice? I like that voice you do with the rules.
It is the first person that we see in our chat with the correct answer, which may look different than the answers you see in the order you see in your chat due to different internet speeds and lags that may occur. So to keep it fair and honest here at Awthentik and The Beard, because we are fair and honest, we have to go by who we see first in our chat. Back to you, Awthentik.
All right, man. That was the Beard with all the information you need to know. Shout out to everybody in the chat one time. We appreciate y'all pulling up, man. Shout out to the gang one time in the building. This is going to be our last trivia question of the night. Ligma said, more dinner? Question mark. How many times do you eat dinner?
Bro,
so
I can smell it right now.
I crushed
it's coming
the pizza
up from
before
the
I
vent.
got on air, right? Like a whole damn pizza pretty much. And I don't know, the way that the Beard was trolling this stream, I worked up an appetite here, man. We've been on air for almost 3 hours. I'm going to eat something else when I get off air. I don't know if it'll be a dinner. We'll see. But I'm feeling dinner vibes right now. I'm definitely feeling the hungry man vibes. All right, so this is going to be the last trivia question of the night. Show them the prizes. Show them the prizes one time. Show the New York Giants fan the prizes one time, man.
We're going Daniel Jones, right? I think that's where we should go.
Hey,
right?
I told you this is on you, man. Over to your sports sponsor.
All right,
man, not Awthentik.
we're going to give away a Daniel Jones rookie card. If you're a Giants fan, Daniel Jones rookie card. If you're a Commanders fan, I got McLaurin, Gibson,
my
Jamin Davis, and Brian Robinson. And if you're a Cowboys fan, Eagles fan, I got an Eagles pennant over here. And if you're a Cowboys fan, you get a Cowboys card.
You get a Cowboys
card.
card.
All covered.
He's like, you see the shirt. That's why Cowboys got that disrespect. Yeah, and if you're a Cowboys fan, you get a Cowboys card. All right, our last and final trivia question of the night. Let me make sure I got this proper. Oh, we're about to have a little jazz flute drop here. I can already feel it. We're about to loop here. Let me just make sure I don't click the answer first, because that would definitely be a problem. Okay, I see okay, bung, we good to go. Okay, third and final trivia question of the night. This Giants running back had 5 straight seasons of 1,000 or more rushing yards before retiring in 1998. He was also named to the Pro Bowl in 1992 and 1993. Shout out to the gang one time. I hope one of y'all get this trivia question right. Don't forget, it's the first one that we see over here. James Earl Moan said, Sam Huff. I like that. Stephen Arch coming in hot with the first answer I see on my side. Okay, James Earl Moans actually dropped one. I see a winner chicken. It's crazy how, like, it just goes boom.
Yeah,
you
it
just
comes
see like
so
30
fast.
answers, yo.
It does. All right, let me go in here and see, confirm. Yes, sir.
All
we have
right,
a winner.
y'all. Shout out to the gang one time, man. We appreciate all of y'all submitting answers. We saw a whole bunch of them. I see a little Otis Anderson, little Joe Morris, little Brandon Jacobs, little Tiki Barber, little Saquon. Somebody said, Kai said Saquon one time, retired in 1998. This we talking about Pop.
He just heard, he saw Giants running back and just said, I gotta get an answer.
That is a smart way to go about it. Giants running back, just start typing all the running backs you know one time. So today's trivia answer to this Giants running back had 5 straight seasons of 1,000 or more rushing yards before retiring in 1998. He was also named to the Pro Bowl in 1992 and 1993. A big reason why I'm a New York Giants fan. Rodney Hampton had 5 straight seasons of 1,000 or more rushing yards for the Giants. He is currently second on the all-time franchise list behind only Tiki Barber. And Tiki Barber got way more yards than, running backs got so far to catch up to Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber is the GOAT when it comes to New York Giants running backs, man. Saquon, I know you're going to try to get that record. It's going to take you a couple seasons. But shout out to the homie one time. James Earl Moans is our winner today for the third answer. Beard, can we get a round of applause over there one time?
Absolutely.
Shout out to James Earl Moans. I'm pretty sure James Earl Moans is a Giants fan from the conversations I've been seeing with him for the most part on this channel. Big shout out to you, fam. Make sure to reach out to us on Twitter. We still got some winners who haven't even sent in their address, man. Like, we got some cards sitting here. What else we got?
Yeah, I have there's 3 or 4 winners that never claimed their cards. So those are going to go back into the rotation.
Soon, we get to the playoffs and you don't claim those cards, they're going to go back into the rotation. Big shout out to the gang, man. Omar says, any relation to Bills Hampton? I don't think so, brother. I don't think so. James Ormone says, cool. Yes, sir. Go G, man. Shout out to you, fam. I'm glad you got to win that, man, on a Giants question. And it's a Giants prize. You get that Daniel Jones rookie card. Should we let James Earl Moans make a choice too? I mean, is he a 100%? Is that cool with you, James Earl Moans? Are you good with the Daniel Jones
because
rookie card?
I know there's some differences in opinions on Daniel Jones. James Earl, I almost called you James Earl. Daniel Earl Jones.
Daniel Earl Jones.
James Earl Moans. Are you a Daniel Jones fan? If not, you can go Xavier McKinney. It's up to you, my guy.
Oh yeah, we still do have the Xavier McKinney as well. You could go with that. So when you, James Ramones, when you hit us up, either email me at Awthentik@alornothingstudios with an S.com or hit us up on Twitter. He says we'll take the DJ card. Make sure to send us your address. We'll get that shipped out as soon as possible, man. Big salute to you for winning this edition of Awthentik and The Beard trivia section, man. It was trivia time three times today. Shout out to The Beard, man. Shout out to Over the Years Sports. If you're not subscribed to Over the Years Sports, go ahead and do that. Search that in your search thing on YouTube in your search bar. Go subscribe to them. Also, go subscribe to The Beard's other channel, Over the Years, as well. Both got the antique collecting stuff going on over the years and the sports memorabilia on over the years sports, man. Big shout out to The Beard for sponsoring today's section, man. And big shout out to the gang, man, for all the votes, man. We appreciate y'all. Today was a vibe. Yo, like 3 hours, man. It just flew by, man. Went by so fast for me, man. You are you ready to put the nail in the coffin for your Commanders after Sunday and be ready, to go into the offseason? It's going to be the offseason for y'all. You ready for that?
No. I'm ready for New York Giants playoff football and my Awthentik and The Beard family. That's what I'm ready for.
I got some hats for you over here if you need a rep for the gang.
Shout out to Chris Peace. Had me dying on Twitter the other day. He had the blue Giants hat and he cut out a big W and put it on the burgundy W and pasted it on top of the blue hat. But no, yeah, I mean, I will. I'm all about beat Dallas this week, as you see. Beat Dallas. After that, I'm jumping in, diving into the numbers, and I'm playing DraftKings.
Can we at least maybe get a LeVar Arrington jersey, maybe Antonio Pierce jersey, maybe
what Mike Singletary once said, "I can't do it. I won't do it."
Landon Collins jersey we could supply you with.
No. Let's not push. Just because I push don't mean you push. Okay, don't push it. All right.
Can't even wear like a LeVar Arrington Washington jersey though. Yeah, I was gonna highlight that one too. Funniest moment of the year. Yo, my homie
now
Patrick.
Look, I would. Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
But I would wear a Julian Love Notre Dame jersey.
Can we do that? I'm trying to give you some outs, man. Do you have one? I don't think you have a Julian Love Notre Dame jersey. You don't, right? Nope. Don't be lying like you was lying about the black jerseys for JV, because that was a damn lie.
I got my years mixed up, man.
Now, I want to show the chat something here, though. So I was talking with the homie Patrick, who, is a big reason why. He's my childhood homie and a big reason why I'm a Giants fan. And next week, for the trivia section, it's going to be sponsored by the homie Patrick. And this is what we're going to be giving away. Let me make sure this isn't too, with the phone, things might get a little crazy. But I think the Giants Nation is definitely going to enjoy this. Let me make sure this is up. It's going to be
Y.A.
Tittle signed jersey. This is a custom jersey that we're going to be giving away. First round of the playoffs, we'll be giving this one away. So make sure y'all tell a friend about Carl Banks and Bob Papa's podcast, but also tell them to come pull up for the playoff edition. We're going to be giving away this Y. Tittle jersey. So lucky Giants fans going to walk away with this one. So big shout out to the homie Patrick, man. I'm about to jump on with him and run some Apex, man. He says he's going to drop that off next week. And we'll be giving that one away. Major. He won that in an auction earlier this year. He's got Pat got a ton of jerseys he won.
I know.
He got a signed Amani Toomer, Michigan jersey, Saquon. He got a ton of them, man. So big shout out to the homie for sponsoring. He saw what we were doing with the giveaways with Over the Years Sports, and he had a couple of extra jerseys he wanted to give away. So we'll be giving away that Y.A. Tittle. Make sure y'all pull up, man. Hopefully the numbers is way up on that one. And we'll give a jersey away to a lucky Giants fan.
It's gonna be fun. Going to be fun.
Definitely.
Don't forget, Sunday morning, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, there might be a lineup building session. We're interactive with the chat where you guys might be able to help us build a DraftKings lineup. That's kind of something that's on the table. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Good way to get the chat involved. So big shout out to the chat, man. Big shout out to the chat.
Big shout out to the chat, man. Let's end this show with some biceps. Y'all know the vibe, man. Left side.
Strong side.
Yes, sir, man. And again, man, we want to say it's amazing. It's amazing to see Demar Hamlin open his eyes, man, today. That was just the greatest news to wake up to. And I know everybody's dealing with their own problems. Everybody going through their own, trials and tribulations in their own life. Me included, and to see that, man, I just felt completely blessed about that. That's just amazing news. So we wish him, well in his recovery, and hopefully one day he'll get to play football again. I think that will make him extremely happy. But to say, who won a game, I think that was the cherry on top of that. All of that information and all that news that came out. So big shout out to Demar Hamlin and his family, and y'all know what it is over here at Awthentik and The Beard, man. Keep raising that bar, keep living those dreams. Because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast Go Combat Jack. Y'all know what it is, man. Y'all be good. No Thursday night football tonight, man, but we got some Saturday football. We got 2 games. Got a 4 o'clock game and a night game, and we got some big games on Sunday in the NFC East. We will see y'all on the parlay at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday morning, possibly on Saturday morning as well. We haven't completed the schedule quite yet. We'll probably see y'all 2 times this week, and you know, playoff weekend is approaching, y'all. We got a Monday night playoff game. It's gonna be so much content cooking up after week 18. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. And yo, definitely put somebody on to Awthentik and The Beard. Let's hit that 3K before the year's over, man. Shout out to my homie The Beard one time, man. The best co-host in the country. Y'all know what it is one last time. Left side.
Strong side.
All right, fam. Y'all be good. We'll see y'all on Saturday possibly, but definitely on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Y'all be good, man. Peace.
Peace.
Don't care.